Hello and welcome back to another episode of Not So Subtle.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, dude.
I'm Jordan Miller, and as usual, I'm here with Dan LaPointe.
That's right.
Culture Potter.
Hello and goodbye.
Where are you going?
To jail, like I almost did.
Whoa.
Boom.
Boom. Segue.
That's a good
Just
intro.
kidding. That is a good segue, but we're not going to get to that yet, because I'm going to lay down what we're doing here today.
Let's go.
Talking about movies. Talking about our Wacky Film of the Week, which was What We Do in the Shadows, filmed by Taika Waititi.
That's right.
We're going to talk about another Taika Waititi joint, Thor Ragnarok. I like that name. I've only just started saying that this week, and I don't think I'm
Taika
going to stop.
Waititi?
Yeah.
It might be the best name.
I'm not going to stop saying that name. So
It might be the best name of, like, not even just a person, just, like, of anything.
Anything.
Yeah. Like, chair, table,
Taika Waititi.
sofa, whatever it is, whatever you're calling something. Taika Waititi is better than any of that.
You got
It's
it.
definitely great, but something rubs me the wrong way about people people saying exotic names or like foreign names and being like, oh, I'm like, that's a fun thing to say.
But
oh, that's
got
well,
a good
not
ring to
necessarily
it.
that. It's like you never hear anyone say, well, maybe it's just because of where we live, but you never hear anyone say like, oh, Chad is a cool name, or like, oh,
Yeah.
Terrence is a cool name, because they aren't. No one has cool names.
Because objectively, Chad
Well,
is
you
not
know
a
that
cool
they're
name.
not like Taika Waititi isn't like, oh, my name Taika Waititi. Oh, that's
Well,
fun.
he's
But
not.
he knows that's like at
It's
least
just normal to him.
It's his name.
Yeah, but he knows it's like a cool name. I guarantee you, he knows that he has a.
If you can
fucking
find
dope
proof
name.
of that, then I'm fine with it.
Okay,
That'll be for next episode.
that's
I have to do
my
our research.
homework.
So we're going to be talking about movies. We're going to be talking about video games in the latter half of the podcast. But first, like I said, I almost didn't make it to this podcast because I was almost put away.
Forever,
You're almost putting the slammer.
No, it's actually not.
and it brought us to an interesting topic.
It is. The topic is jail time. How do you guys feel about it? Good?
I'm all right with it.
About me doing it, or just
Sure.
about the fact that jail
about
time?
you specifically doing jail time.
I wouldn't prefer it. Absolutely
Me
not.
neither. But yeah.
I mean, if that's what it comes to, so be it. Like, it's not that bad.
Well, you won't be saying that when you're in jail. But
It's not that bad. It's
anyways.
like you get food, and
Sure.
it's like going to school. School is pretty much jail.
Sure.
It's fine.
Speaking of school, that's how I almost went to jail. I was in my usual, go to my parking spot. I park a little ways off the campus, and I walk along a trail, through campus to get to my classroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I park as usual. I think this is... I'll start on Monday. On Monday, I park and go, and as I go up this little walkway to where the trail to my classes, or the campus is, I see that there's a construction fence there that says keep out. But I see people walking through a little gap on the side. I was like, all right, I can make it through there too. People are going through there. And also, I'm not going to not walk through there because the alternate route is 20 minutes longer than walking across this bridge.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to walk through. They're doing construction on this trail. There are no trucks there. There's no construction people there. It's fine. I walk through there.
But it did say to keep out.
It did say keep out.
And you didn't listen.
I didn't listen.
Yeah, right,
No one else
okay.
was listening either.
No, I
was
just
like-
wanted to make sure that we
I
made
got
that.
sucked up in the crowd. I was like, whatever. No one's getting in trouble. I'm fine. I come back from class. No one there. I get through fine. Next day, as I walk up there, same thing happening. It's still under construction. This time, however, when I get to the top of the staircase, there's a crowd of about 15 people there and a police officer sitting there. And I knew as I walked up there, I was like, I'm not making it past this dude. Like, I tried to slink my way around. I was like, I'm just going to walk past this guy. And he's like, you there. Can I see your ID? Coincidentally, I happen to have left my wallet in my car. At that time, I was like, I forgot my wallet in my car. I was like, this is already the worst, like, possible experience right now. I was like, I left my wallet in my car. He's like, all right, do you have your student ID? I was like, well, yeah, but it's in my wallet and it's still in my car. He's like, okay, give me your name, your name, give me your date of birth and all this stuff. I was like, all right. And then he's like, all right, and then write down your student ID number. I was like, listen, I don't know my student ID number.
He said to the cop, listen here, all right?
I
He
wrote,
said,
I wrote,
shut the fuck up.
I wrote down a number, and I was like, I handed it to him. I was like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that student ID number is right because I don't know what mine is. And he was like, okay. And then he called like the dispatch, and I had to give him my address and stuff, and he was like, listen, I don't know who told you guys. I don't care what you guys got told yesterday about walking through this trail. I do not want to see you here again. He's like, do you guys have $158 on you? And I was like, well...
My wallet's in my car.
I was like, well, yeah. But no, he's like, do you guys have $158 to spare? Because I don't. I have a full-time job. I was like, okay, I mean, cool. Okay, he's like, I'm not going to ruin all your guys' day today, but don't come back here again. So I was like, okay, officer, I'm sorry. Please have a good day. And then I walked off. And he was like, he had everyone else's ID, so he was just like, he was calling out names. He's like, all right, Smith, come here. And I was sitting there for a moment. I was like, well, I didn't give him my ID. Should I just leave? And then I just turned around and left and walked away. But I didn't go back to that trail entrance, and it inconvenienced me greatly walking around it. Mm-hmm.
So it was worth it to be accosted.
That seems like just a overreaction in the largest sense of the word.
It was.
Like, why? What was going to happen?
You're going to get in the way of the construction people, maybe get run over.
The people that apparently weren't there.
They weren't. I mean, they weren't there when I was there, but they were clear. They were going back and forth along the trail, so who knows? But it's on me. It said keep out. It was trespassing, so. Mm-hmm. But I didn't get in trouble, so.
You're a trespasser.
Yeah. But, yeah.
And scum.
Again, it was...
You are scum. I can't believe that you did that, Jordan. I just can't believe it. It's disgusting.
Shame.
I'm really sorry, guys. I try to be an upstanding citizen.
I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, I was like, honestly, it's like, okay, it takes me 10 minutes to walk this route. It takes me 20 minutes to walk, an extra 20 minutes, so 30 minutes total to go the other way. And some guy, while talking to the police officer, was like, well, if we can't go this way, how do we get down there? And I was like, I don't know how to get down there. I go the same way every single day. He's like, well, you can either take these two roads, and they're both 20 minutes out of the way. I was like, all right, sir. You're inconveniencing a lot of people here. But it was done today, so not a big deal, but...
And you almost went to jail, dude.
He almost gave me a $158 ticket. He didn't specifically say it was for trespassing, but I'm assuming that's what it is.
He almost stuffed all of those people. He almost stuffed all those people into his clown car down to the station.
Yeah.
Into his clown car.
I was like, there's no way this guy's writing out 20 tickets right here.
No one wants to do that.
Yeah.
There's no way this guy's bringing out the paddy wagon.
Plus, there's 20 of you. There's one of him.
Yeah, I think
he could easily hide his body.
Some guy came up. There was people who were coming in after I already got talked to as well. So the pile of people just kept adding up. And some guy, I feel like he must have been he was a bit of a hot shot. I think he was like, so all you guys are just here because this is another student. He's like, so all you guys are just here because you walked up this staircase, right? And we're all like, yeah. I was like, is this dude gonna try to like make a class action lawsuit or something? What's this guy planning on doing here? He's gonna fight like the tickets if we get it, but no one got in trouble. So
I feel like that's the kind of guy who knows exactly how to like at a party or whatever, when someone's like, don't open the door because if you open the door they can come in or whatever. Like, it's always there's always one guy. Yeah, there's always one guy who like knows like the rules and his rights like the back of his hand, and he's like, no, if you say this, blah blah blah, you're done.
Yeah. So
there's always the designated lawyer of the group.
Yeah, and he's always advising people. He's always like, I don't think you want to do that, champ. Like, if you do that, blah blah blah. Mm-hmm. There's always one.
There always is. So not the most harrowing situation, but it was on a day where...
But you feared for your life, for sure.
You almost went to jail.
I almost got in trouble. But listen, I needed to make it to class. It was an important day in class. I was already running slightly late. I was like, sir, I gotta get to class, man.
I gotta go.
You're making me waste a lot of time here, and you didn't even give me a ticket. Come on. Waste my time.
Come on.
Yeah,
at
seriously.
least charge me money.
Yeah, at least
gotta have a ticket.
You know what? That cop was weak.
Because at least if I had been late to my class that day, I could have had an excuse and been like, well, I got a ticket, but
yeah,
I was on time, so it doesn't matter. But
wow, you're on time after all that?
Yeah,
Jesus.
Barely.
It's a happy ending to that story.
Was on time to class.
So, have any of you guys ever been in a pickle like that?
Oh, I've been to jail.
Do tell.
I've seen some shit.
Just kidding.
Oh, all right. Well, don't lie about going to jail, otherwise you'll go to jail.
Yeah.
That's
Don't say jail 3 times, or else the policeman will show up behind you and book you
and take you away.
Let's see.
Then you look like you have something to say.
I've been pulled over. I guess if we're talking about like, I've never had a run-in with a cop like outside of being pulled over. I don't think. I feel like I would remember it. Yeah, well, okay.
I would hope so.
There's that one time where, Coulter, you'll remember this. This must have been 5th or 6th grade, I want to say, or it might have been junior high. We were at park.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, there was like an old, like dilapidated, like sign to the park that was like completely, it was done. It was completely destroyed. It was like weathered and like, you know, literally falling apart. It was made of wood, so there was like chunks of wood missing out of it and everything. And I think we like were throwing rocks at it or like hitting it with sticks or something like that. And then at one point we decided to pee on it. I'm pretty sure we definitely peed. We definitely peed on the sign.
Ran the gamut of
delinquent
things to do.
We were vandalizing this sign, but it was like it must have been like after a day of hanging out or something like that. And we were hanging out at the park, and then it was dusk. Probably it was like 6 p.m., 7 p.m., something like that in the summer. So it was like still sort of bright out. Yeah, but it was like getting to the point where like, you know, it was getting to the debauchery hours, and we were doing this, and then there's like, so when you're going to the park, there's like multiple entrances to this park, and there's this particular sign was on like a walkway going up into like the area like with the pool and all that stuff, and on either side of the walkway there's like a fence, and then there's houses, because it's just a bunch of houses surrounding this park. It's like a neighborhood park. And of course, while this was happening, there was some lady up on the like her porch or like her patio or whatever, like
just
looking down,
take a leak,
just right at the perfect
looking at
angle.
Our schweenuses, dude.
She was looking at my schweenus.
She should have gone to jail.
She was like, "Damn, that's a big schweenus."
Nice.
Damn, got him.
Damn, that middle schooler.
No, but she was
a
like
pedophile.
That was the twist ending. We actually got the cops called her. She was a pedophile. No.
Huh.
No, that's terrible.
Wow, that would be a great story, but
that would be crazy. But no, this isn't anything that crazy. But it was like
women can't be pedophiles.
Oh no, the double standard. Hold on. Yeah. So this lady was looking down at us, and she was like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And like, she was like yelling at us, right? Like, wasn't she was like
like a concerned mom type.
Yeah, and she was like, "What are you doing down there? Like, what do you guys really think that's funny or something like that?" And then like, she did actually threaten to call the cops. She said, like,
I know your guys' moms, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. She was like, I know your guys' parents, or, like, I know your moms, or whatever. Like, I'm going to call... I have no idea.
She may have known, like, one of our moms.
Maybe, like...
Are we going to say their names?
No.
Please dox whoever it is.
We'll go with Ned.
All right.
Yeah, with Ned's parents, because they live close.
Yeah.
And so they might have known. Maybe. But I don't think they did. Anyway. So she was like, I'm going to call the police. And so at the time, like, I'm pretty sure we were in, I want to say 7th grade.
Yeah, middle school.
Yeah, so, like, at the time, when you hear someone say that, when they're like, I'm going to call the police, you panic a little bit.
Yeah, you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because I remember we started freaking out. We're like, oh, God, the cops are going to show up.
You're going to go to jail.
Like, yeah, like, we're going to go to jail. Or juvenile detention.
We're going to be detained.
And so I immediately pulled up my phone and I looked up Miranda rights. No.
That's what that has nothing to help you.
Yeah, I don't know why I did that. That's what they tell you.
It'll help you after you get arrested.
Yeah, right. No, I think we just like ran away or something.
We had our bikes. Left the park.
Yeah, we're like, let's just leave, and then like I don't think
you zipped your pants, tucked your wieners, and left.
Right.
While we were having,
and it was really hard for me because it was so big. Like
Uh-huh.
I had to like, it was so hard to get it back in my pants, and because it was so big.
Sure. I do remember a night few years ago where I don't know if it was the same park, but after a night of hanging out, we were driving around with some friends, and as we went past this park, we saw a bunch of people from our high school there.
Oh, I remember this.
And they were like, "Oh, we're just playing like capture the flag here. Do you guys want to play?" And this is at like 11 o'clock at night, just on a random weekend night in the summer. It's like
with the ghost.
Yeah, like sure. And we started playing, and someone called the cops on us while we were playing because we were in the park at night. Mm-hmm. And yeah,
and that was
yeah.
So like, man, the people in that neighborhood are so fucking uptight.
I also remember another time a few years ago. It was actually my first year in college. After a night of drinking, we were wandering around the campus, and there's a legend and rumor at basically every college that's like, hey, if you like find this room or find a certain sewer grate, you can get into the steam tunnels beneath like the campus and walk around, and you can get to like other parts of the campus by the like sewer system. Basically, you can like get down there, which is a legitimate thing. You can actually get down there like in the steam tunnels and kind of walk around.
And you'll find Pennywise.
Sure. Well, yeah. I mean, maybe. But one night we decided. What
fun that would be to walk around and poop.
It's not the sewer. It's the heating system underneath.
So
the campus.
Just super hot air.
Yeah, like steam and hot air blowing around. But we tried to find it one night, and again, after a night of a little drinking, we were pretty dumb, and we lifted up a couple sewer grates, and someone called the campus police on us, and they found all of us. We're like, is that a police officer over there? As we were walking around, and then we all split off into different directions, and they caught every single one of us.
That's crazy.
I got in trouble with the school and had to write
shit.
I had to write like a paper saying like it was like I would either have gotten a ticket, it's like minor in possession or something, or minor under the influence, some sort of ticket of some sort, or I had to write a paper explaining. I had to take a online class about the dangers of drinking, and also write a paper about what I was like, something about what I wanted to do later in life and some dumb thing. So, being the idiot and asshole that I am, I wrote a paper about how, after I got caught trouble drinking, I decided that I was going to write this paper about how I was going to open up my own bar or something like that, and
that's awesome.
Really toss it to them.
That's good.
So yeah, and nothing came of that, but that was an interesting one. So
yeah, I don't really have anything crazy like that. I mean, I've been pulled over twice, one for speeding, which was recently when I think I might have told that story.
Oh yeah, we did talk about that
on the podcast where Putin pulled me over.
Yeah,
and it's like, do you know how fast you were going? It's like, no, not really. Nope. It's like 75 and 60 or whatever. It was like 70 something and 60. And then he gave me the ticket.
Vlad.
Yeah, Vlad. Good old Vlad. Yeah, and then the other one I got pulled over. Actually, I don't want to say this.
Think about what you're about to say.
It's whatever. I got pulled over for my tabs being expired. Or wait.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was my tabs.
Are you sure you want to say this?
It was my tabs being expired. But then
take them away.
There was also illegal marijuana.
I'm actually going to turn you over.
There was illegal marijuana in the car.
Oof.
And the cop was like, because he pulled me over and he was like, do you know why I pulled you over? And he was like super chill at first. I was like, honestly, not really. And I was like freaking out.
Because of the illegal marijuana in my car?
I was like, it's not because of the marijuana. But he was like, yeah, your tabs are expired. And I was like, oh. Okay.
Oops.
Like,
that's chill.
I didn't. I was like, sodded. I rolled down the window. I'm like, sodded. There's just smoke billowing out. No. I was literally like, hello. I was like really serious because I was actually really scared. I was like, hello, sir. He's like, do you know why I pulled you over? Blah, blah,
hello,
the tabs.
dude.
And then, hello.
What's up, Chad?
He rolled down the window. He's like, hello. Sodded. Yeah, and so he was like, And also, what about that weed in the car? Like he said that like all like suave like. I was like, God damn it.
Oh, and then the weed.
You're like, yeah, and then you give him a dap.
Yeah, then I dapped him. I was like, hey, what's up?
And he said, see you later, dude, and you guys peaced out.
Yep.
Sick. All right.
And then he said he's giving me a ticket for $420.
No.
That'd be a lot. That'd be a big ticket.
Did you actually get in trouble?
No.
He was just like, that's chill.
He was like, sick, bro. Roast on.
He's like, how much is that?
I'll buy that off of you. What
nice.
is it? No, yeah,
How much by weight?
he didn't really do. Well, he made me throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
Like he made me throw it.
Wait,
in the,
really?
Like in the drain, yeah.
Really?
Like down the sewer, like yeah.
He walked you out the car. He was like, "Now throw."
He's like, "You're gonna throw that in there?
You're gonna throw that in the river."
Yeah, and then I like threw the little like. I was like with the baggie, and he's like, no, not with the baggie. And then I like kind of like dumped it out into the sewer, and then Pennywise came up and he went. And he grabbed it.
I have your bag of weed. Here, just come and get it.
Don't you want your bag of weed?
Well, that's fun.
Yeah. So
that's a fun time.
I mean,
and then you guys blazed.
No. The mood was shot after that. No one was like, all right, where are we gonna get more weed? It was just like, well, we're going home.
We're going home.
We're going home, guys. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's not that bad. Weed is like whatever now.
Well, it's legal.
It's legal, yeah, but like at the time he treated it as he wasn't like that serious about it, but he was treating it as if I had like, you know, meth in the car or something like that. He was like, about that weed in the car, but he got super serious. Like, maybe throw it away and all this stuff. This was the night before graduation, actually. That's a big part of it. It was the very night before graduation. And we were like, he's like, so school year wrapping up? And we're like, yeah, actually graduation's tomorrow. He's like,
you guys got big lives ahead of you, I can
tell. And then we were like, yeah, it's all over tomorrow. And he's like, oh, that's pretty exciting. And like the whole time he kept like, he was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to check on something, I'll be back or whatever. And he kept going back and forth, just like, I'm sure just leaving us to stew and like, you know, dwell on what we've done. Yeah. Like there was nothing, he wasn't doing anything. He didn't give us a ticket. He didn't give us like really any warning or anything like that. The warning was just him not doing anything. And then he was like, okay, well, you guys are fine, but you need to throw it away.
Okay.
That's all it was. So it wasn't that bad, but he was clearly toying with us. I know he was.
I know for a fact.
I know he was. I've talked to him since. We have dinner every Friday.
It was my dad.
It was my dad.
It was my dad.
Plot twist. The cop was my dad.
All right.
My daddy's in the 5-0. That's the name of the sitcom.
You can choose your father. Wait, no. You can choose your daddy, but you can't choose your father. That's what it is.
Well, that's a good time to move to the next segment.
I haven't talked about mine yet.
I thought you said you didn't have one. Coulter, please.
All I have is one time there was a cop right behind me, like with his lights on, and I was like pulling over, and there was a car in front of me pulling over too, and he was like, he kept like moving forward, and I thought the cop was just trying to get by maybe, and so I was pulling over, the guy in front of me was pulling over, so we're at the same speed. I'm right behind him. We just keep like moving forward along the curb, and then the cop like goes over next to my car and was like, stop right now, like you need to pull over and stop. You're in the way. I'm trying to get to that guy. Like I need to talk to that guy. And then I was like, oh, I didn't know, I'm sorry, like blah blah blah. And
how are you supposed to tell in that situation?
He was like yelling at me, like I was scared.
Dude, cops are,
yeah,
I've said this before. I feel like cops enforce the law in an inefficient way.
How would you enforce the law, sir?
I don't know exactly, but I feel like your first instinct when you see a cop on the road should not be to be afraid and to be like, oh god, I have to like put my phone down, like, you know, grip the steering wheel and just like look like a fucking like scared deer in headlights when you're in your car. Like your first instinct should be like, oh, there's a cop there, I'm safe.
I can leave my phone right here in my hand while driving, it's fine.
Yeah, well, like obviously that kind of stuff is whatever, but like I never, when I see a cop, my first instinct is never like, I'm safe.
I think if you're doing nothing wrong, you shouldn't feel like you're going to, like, something terrible is going to happen to you. Like, if you're committing 0 crimes, you shouldn't feel
I'm not really ever doing anything wrong. It's just, like, when I see a cop, there's, like, this imposing, like, kind of, like, negative aura around them. And, like, I'm just, like, stuck in traffic on the freeway or whatever. I'm not doing anything.
Yeah,
but when I see the cop, I'm like, oof.
Yeah, I'm not saying anything about you. I'm saying it's bad that anyone in this country can feel scared when they're doing absolutely nothing wrong. Like,
yeah,
that's the problem.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Like, and I don't know how to fix that, but
yeah. Well, let's get into it a little more and dig into it. No, my other story is I was in the car with a friend that shall not be named. He's not at this table, but
I think I know this story.
It was Kermit. So Kermit was at the wheel. I'm gonna call him Kermit. He was at the wheel, and he was like, "All right, we're gonna go get some." We're gonna go get some burgers from the Dick's. Because there's a restaurant called Dick's.
I do know this story.
There actually is a restaurant called Dick's near us. Dick's Hamburgers, Seattle. Check it out if you come by.
It's pretty good.
We go there often. We have a joke about it. Dick's Run?
Dick's, when it's just clearly not in the cards.
Yeah.
Dick's Run tonight?
No!
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah, so we're on a Dick's Run. And he was driving, and I was in the passenger seat. And a cop shows up behind us and pulls us over. The cop goes up to Kermit. I'm going to bleep that.
Kermit?
I'm going to bleep that. I accidentally said his name. That's funny. I actually have a couple other things to bleep.
You should just... do you?
Well, you said the name of the park that we went to. I might bleep that.
Whatever.
Anyways,
well, you should.
Those will be fixed in post.
You should bleep over it and then just have you
Kermit.
Like Kermit. Yeah.
Wait, hey, everybody, shut up right now. I'm gonna record the thing that I'm gonna put over it. Kermit.
Just take that clip.
That's gonna be great. All right. Okay. Yeah. So the cop went up to Kermit and was like, "Hey, champ." No, he didn't say champ, but he was just like, do you know how fast you were going there, bud, or something like that? And he was like somewhat nice, but he was like maintaining his superiority over us.
Yeah. And make sure that you knew who was boss.
Made sure that we knew that he could strike at any time.
Right.
Yeah, so he was just talking to us about how Kermit was speeding, and he sped. That's basically it. And then it was just a warning, so that was fine.
Yeah.
And then when Kermit drove away with the cop still there after this was all over, he started immediately speeding. And I was like, Kermit, what are you doing, dude?
We just got pulled over for this.
He literally didn't notice what was happening. Like,
that's ridiculous. Was just
now I'm like watching every word I say because I can't say.
Can't say Kermit.
Because I can't say the name. Yeah, but anyways, that was crazy. And then he was like, oh, and then he like slowed back down to a normal speed. I was like, dude, what is wrong?
You just got pulled over.
Would that ever happen to you, that you would like immediately start speeding it right after getting pulled over?
No.
Yeah, I feel like
inadvertently
right after the act, I'd be like, well, I'm certainly not going to go like however fast over the speed limit I usually go. I'm going to go the speed limit. Mm-hmm. But the next day it would probably be wiped from my mind.
Yeah.
But I don't speed ridiculously while driving, so it's not a problem for me. But.
So when I got pulled over when I was speeding, I think I mentioned this when we talked about it the first time, but I was keeping up with traffic. I wasn't going Paul Walker or like Jason Bourne on the freeway going like driving past people or whatever. It was like I was in the express lanes, and this was like, it was a Sunday at like 9:30 in the morning or something like that. And so like the people in the express lane are going pretty fast because there's no one in there. So they were kind of going fast, and like I would be on the right lane, and I would come up on someone, and like I didn't want to like ride their ass or whatever, so I would switch lanes. And I would kind of just like make my way through. But it's not like I was just like driving really fast, like going in through all these people. I was keeping up with everyone. And then
well, you were passing everyone.
I was passing everyone, but I wasn't going faster than anyone, really. It was like I would just kind of...
Hang on. Let's think about what just happened right there.
Like, what I mean is I wouldn't see someone and be like, all right, I got to hit 90 miles per hour and, like, speed around them. It was like I was passing people, but I wasn't going that fast. I felt like I wasn't going that fast. And so he was like... He wasn't that... He was very intimidating and scary, and he made it seem like something worse was going to happen. But he gave me a $157 ticket. Which that's a lot of money or like $150 something ticket. That was a lot of money for a ticket. I wasn't happy about it.
Yeah.
Understandably.
Yeah. So it was just money for nothing, essentially. But no, what was I going to say? Not anything with a cop, but have you guys ever been in an accident? Like a car accident or anything like that?
No.
So...
Kermit.
Me driving. Yeah, we're gonna use Kermit as like the name now. Me driving. I have two stories. One, me driving. I was going off campus for lunch in high school, senior year, and.
Any more details?
If you're listening, there were two people in the car. If one of them might be listening, you know who you are. We went to like McDonald's or something, and we were coming back, and then. This is the one accident I've ever been in, me driving. In the Quest, the best car ever. Mm-hmm. I was driving, and I think someone was showing me like a video or something, which I probably shouldn't have been looking at while I was driving. Like, this was totally my fault. And I like turned around to look at it or something, like completely around while I was driving, which is the worst idea ever.
Turning around to watch a video.
It was like a picture or something, but I was driving and I literally like went all the way around like this, like look at it.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh no, or like exclaim something.
Whoa,
and then,
no!
Whoa! And then I literally just instinctively slammed on the brake because they were freaking out. So I was like, oh shit, something's gonna happen. So I turn around really fast. I slam on the brake, and then like my car kind of like stops like right right on the bumper of someone else's car, and I like on the very last second I stop and then go like poof, like hit with the last little bit of force when the car was like lurching from the brakes, and it felt a lot worse than it was. There was no mark on the bumper or anything like that, but I hit the car and the car just kind of stopped there for a second, and I was just stopped like foot on the brake, just looking around like, oh fuck, like you get that feeling like in your stomach where you're like, I fucked up, this is bad. And then the car starts moving, it pulls into the school and stops like on the little sidewalk right there, and it was like some old lady, like not old, but she was like 50s or something like that, and I think she might have been like a like pizza delivery person or something, because she had like a bunch of pizza boxes in her car, and she gets out and she was like really shaken and like scared, and I felt really bad. I was like, I just like ruined this lady's day. But I looked at it and I'm like, I'm so sorry, like I've never been in an accident, like I totally didn't mean it, it was totally my bad. And then both cars were completely fine and like nothing really came of it, but ever since then never been in an accident.
Nice.
And it was scary.
Congratulations.
It was bad, but then
scared straight, got him.
That's right, even though it wasn't that scary at all. But
it was scared straight for her.
Yeah, pretty much. So the next one is actually somewhat exciting. This was on senior skip day. Some
note as senior cut day.
Senior cut day. That's right. Cut for Bieber. We went to Kermit.
Kermit.
We went to Denny's.
Guys, pause for me to fill in. Kermit.
Lols. We went to Denny's. This was actually before Denny's. We went to
this is pre-Denny's.
Do something. I don't remember what it was. And we were coming back to my house, and Kermit was driving in his
as he does
in his BMW.
Unnecessary detail, but that's fine.
The point of me saying that is that Kermit wanted to drive it like a BMW.
Yeah,
and wanted to do some.
We all know
some
how
cool,
BMWs
some cool stuff.
behave.
Yeah, and so he decided, wow, it's senior cut day. I'm going to cut a sick drift around this corner. Yeah. As you do. You're in a BMW. You got to drift it.
Sure.
That's how it works. So Kermit hits the e-brake. And instantly, we both knew that we weren't making that drift. So we drift into and over a curb, up over the curb, into someone's lawn, completely upend like a bush. And like a huge bush, like a not a rhododendron, but it's like an evergreen, like it's like a tree essentially, just completely uproots from the lawn. We're literally just sitting on the curb. The airbag goes off. It hits me in the face. I get hit in the face with this airbag.
I've never heard this story.
And there's smoke coming out of
no.
Yes, there's smoke.
Wait, this is the same. Is this the same? Is this before or after that person got in a different incident where someone had their blinker on as if they were going to turn?
Yes,
and this person pulled up?
This was this was senior year, so I think that happened.
So it was post that.
Well, yeah, it was well past that. It was well past that. Yeah, but
same
that was
car.
Same car.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild, and so we hit that drift, and I won't lie, that was one of the most scared I've ever been in my life. Like,
who would hit a drift?
I was very scared.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah, I was frightened, and like that airbag hit me in the face. Like I felt like that. Have you guys ever?
No, absolutely.
Yeah, so
not.
I never expected that to happen. So I didn't. First off, when that was happening, I didn't expect the airbag to go off because it was the side of the car, and we didn't hit like a wall or anything. It was like, I think the impact of the because what it was is it knocked off like the door panel, like the side panel on the bottom. So I think that impact just like triggered it like right there. So the airbag went off. There was and in the car it's like there's the ones like on the top, and then there's the ones in the side panel. So I just like an airbag right here and an airbag right here, like diagonally from my face and like to my chest, just hit me. And I was like, okay. And I was just sitting there like literally airbag was just like in my face, and I was sitting there like, damn, that sucks.
Did it hurt?
Yes.
For the airbag to go off.
Yeah, it stung.
But were you okay?
Yeah, I was fine, but like it felt like I got like slapped in the face really hard, or like someone like punched me in the face or something. It didn't feel good. Yeah, that was a crazy. We got way off the topic of police, but I thought of that story. And,
yeah,
well, folks,
it's a wild story.
Don't drive your cars. Don't drift.
Look,
don't be dumb.
Don't drift. Honestly, even if you know how to drift, don't drift. If you don't know how to drift, definitely don't drift because you're going to crash your fucking car.
In a safe environment. Drift in a drifting arena.
Look, okay, so, going up into my neighborhood, I can tell you exactly. So, imagine you're coming from...
Go ahead and name the neighborhood.
Does it have to be this detailed? I don't think it does.
No, it's like going up my street, like, not the first...
I know exactly where, what you're talking about. Do you know where it is?
Yeah, you're saying
entering my neighborhood, it's the first area where you can turn left near that little park. Yeah, so he drifted around there and went up on the curb there onto that lawn and, completely upended everything. So that's a pretty tight corner. Like, why would you... I'm not going to question it. I don't know why he thought that he would drift that. And so I saw my life flash before my eyes. I got hit in the face with an airbag. All before 10 a.m. in the morning.
I'm going to go ahead and say that person in question, Kermit, is a terrible driver.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Kermit is a horrible driver.
Yeah. I actually have one fast story here. Shortly after I got my license to drive, I went to a Pizza Hut to snag a pizza.
I know this story too.
You don't know the story, do you, Jordan?
I'm not sure.
So I went to a Pizza Hut for a pickup order. And so I get to the Pizza Hut. I'm driving my parents' car, and so this particular Pizza Hut, the parking lot, when you pull into the spot, there's a median, a bump, in front of the car.
Like a little concrete piece?
Yeah, concrete median piece in front of your car at the end of the spot. So and then in front of that median is a bunch, you just can't stop, is a bunch of bushes, really big, hedges. They're more like hedges. And it's kind of on a little hill. So it's a high hedge in front of the median. So yeah, you get the picture. So I'm pulling into the spot, and this is some old lady shit right here.
Love it, dude.
This really does happen when you're not skilled at driving or when you're incredibly old, that you'll forget whether your foot is on the gas or the brake. Mm-hmm. So I was...
You were new to driving.
I was new to driving, yeah.
Yeah, I'm giving you credit here.
Yeah, thank you.
It is funny.
So yeah, I didn't know whether my foot was on the gas or the brake. So I accidentally hit the gas when I was supposed to stop. Mm-hmm. And then I went over the little median and into the hedge, which would be fine. But when I tried to pull out, I couldn't. I was stuck in the hedge. Because up to that point,
you had never pulled out before, and you're like, damn, what is this?
Damn. I didn't know I had to do this.
I wasn't informed.
I wasn't informed that pulling out would be necessary. Yeah.
So since the wheels were on the hedge, I couldn't get out for whatever reason. It's not a 4-wheel drive car, but I don't know. I don't know exactly how all that works, but for whatever reason, I couldn't get out, no matter how, much I gassed it. So I was
you started panicking.
So I'm standing there, after that happens, I get out of the car, I'm like, well, I gotta go get that pizza. I'm not trying to make that pizza get cold.
Your priorities were right in place.
So my car is just in this hedge. You can see it's the hedge is destroyed, basically. And I go in to get the pizza, receive the pizza. There was a guy I knew from high school that was working there that I didn't really talk to or anything, but I just touched base with him real quick. So that was an interesting situation.
I gotta get back to my car.
Didn't say anything about the car. So I got the pizza, went back to the car, had a slice, of course. You're not just gonna not have a slice.
It would get cold.
Again, your priorities are right in place.
Yeah. So I basically just called my parents, and they're like, well, you should probably call the insurance or whatever, our insurance. They have tow away or something like that.
AAA or something.
Well, I'm not going to say which one, but
okay.
It doesn't really matter.
What's the social security number?
Well,
I did tell them to the story.
I'm just curious.
Let me give you a couple needless details. It was
what make of the
car
was?
What shoes were you wearing?
That did factor in because of the brakes.
What Pizza Hut was it?
It was at
what kind of pizza?
1-3.
What kind of pizza was it?
Jesus Christ. Okay.
Was it stuffed? Did you get stuffed crust?
No. I think it might have been one of those dinner boxes where you get a square pizza and some breadsticks.
Nice. With the Cinesticks?
No. Actually, maybe.
Come back.
How many more details?
Come back.
Socks?
Yes. Black. Thank you.
Acceptable.
All right. Acceptable. Cool. If it was yellow, no.
How was your hair looking? Did you need a haircut?
I don't know.
Was it right after a haircut? Was it like in that limbo period where like I should get a haircut?
I'm just gonna go on. So I called.
Just go along with.
I called the insurance, and they're like, "We can be there in like an hour." And I was like,
"It's too late."
Don't know about that.
Well, you had that pizza that tied you over.
I had that pizza when I was stranded. At this time, I'm pretty sure there were people like coming in and out of the Pizza Hut that didn't do anything.
They just
and I didn't ask them to help.
How obvious was it that you fucked up? Like, honestly.
I don't think it was super obvious, but you could definitely tell that my car was over the median and in a hedge. Okay. So if they looked at my car, they could probably tell, but it wasn't. Sure. I didn't like cause an incident or something. Yeah, so I called the insurance and set up that thing. So I was just waiting, and then my dad called and he was like, "Oh, you should call this family." Or like one of my friend's dad, because he's like a super
Kermit.
Kermit Senior. And so because they're like Kermit Senior is like good with outdoorsy stuff and might know a solution.
It's actually a solid idea.
Yeah. So I called him and he was like, "I think I might be able to get you out of there." And so he comes with his car, and he has like a 4-wheel drive car, and like, you know, he's ready for anything.
What kind of shoes was he wearing?
How is his haircut status?
How is his hair looking?
So, yeah, he shows up, and he happens to have, like, some sort of, like, bungee cord or, like, tow cable or something with an actual hook on there. And I just happen to have a little...
Next level, dude.
Yeah, I happen to have, like, a loop on the back of my car, like a metal loop attached to the back of my car, which is, like... What? Like, does everyone have that?
No.
Maybe. I don't know.
Certainly not.
Anyways, I had one, so we just literally, he towed me out of there. I just threw it into neutral or whatever, and then he pulled me out using that cord. And then I left. I didn't tell Pizza Hut or
you didn't tell
anyone
that you fucked their hedge.
No, but the hilarious thing about it is that for the next couple months, every time I drove by that Pizza Hut, there's a huge gash, like noticeable gash in the hedge.
You knew.
There's like perfectly manicured hedges, and then there's one with a huge gash.
And then there's your hedge, the one you left your mark on.
And I just go by, I'm like,
that was me.
You know, they probably had to start a hedge fund for that.
No. I'm the opposite of an improv comedian.
No.
You just shut that one down. That was a good one.
I think they actually like trimmed it to like
to compensate
to like put a hole in it, like where that was, to kind of like compensate for it. But they didn't trim any of the other ones, so it was just one with a huge hole that was even more noticeable. So yeah,
that's funny.
I destroyed property,
and you felt nothing.
And I felt nothing.
All right.
If you were wondering about the missing link of did I cancel with the insurance company, yes, I did.
I was going to say, did you leave? And then the insurance guy was like, where is your car?
They brought out all that stuff for no reason.
He just comes out. He's like, well, I see the damage from the hedge, but where's your car? What happened?
He's like, well, we are still 3 hours away, so we'll just turn this thing around.
All right.
Good shit.
We went on a wild ride there. Sounds like you guys went on a few wild rides.
That's right. Mr. Toe's wild ride.
Jordan's only been in safe vehicles.
I mean... Quite frankly, I believe I'm a very safe driver, so I don't put myself or others at danger while driving.
Look, I'm a safe driver.
You're not.
I am.
You have road rage.
Do I, though?
You do. We're moving on to the next segment of the podcast where we talk about Dane's road rage. Starting now. Go ahead, Dane.
At least I don't drift around corners. I'll say that.
Fair enough.
That's true. That's all we can ask.
Can't ding you for that one. All right. Let's move on to the wacky film of the week. What did we watch this week, Coulter?
What We Do in the Shadows.
All right. What We Do in the Shadows. We picked this movie out of a bag, as we do every week. We have a list of movies. We're up to, or down to, rather, maybe like 30-ish at this point, I think, still, maybe.
Yeah,
it's in the 30s.
Each week we pull one out, we watch it, and we talk about it, which we're going to do now. Coulter, I want to hear your thoughts on the movie first, because you're the person who put this on the list, right?
I did. Mm-hmm. I suggested.
This was one of the first ones we put on here, I think.
You mentioned last week it was from the guys who did Flight of the Conchords?
Yeah, I mean, that's what it's called. I don't know. One of the guys from Flight of the Conchords is in it. I don't know if the other guy's in it, if they wrote it, like what other stuff they did, but yeah.
Okay.
I don't think Taika Waititi is in Flight of the Conchords. I think he's just a friend.
I think he was like, I think it's a Simon Pegg and like Nick Frost and Edgar Wright scenario where they're like actually friends and then they decided to make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
All right.
Yeah.
What made you put this movie on the list, Coulter?
I honestly just heard about it like from a YouTube video. I think it was SourceFed Table Talk. They were probably just like talking about movies and stuff, and at the time that movie had come out, and they were like, "Oh, this looks like, or this is like a fun, unique movie that's funny." And I'm just like, "Oh, okay, I know who Flight of the Conchords is." Blah blah blah. And so,
wait,
yeah.
I thought you had seen this.
No.
Wait, none of us had seen this? Oh, okay.
No.
Nope.
For some reason I thought you had seen it.
No.
So, What We Do in the Shadows, I was aware that it was a comedy. I wasn't aware that it was kind of a
mockumentary.
Yeah, mockumentary.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Which I found interesting at the start. It's basically the setup for the movie. If you haven't seen it, we'll get into whether or not you should watch it or not. You can choose that for yourself after you hear our thoughts. But it's basically a story of a group of friends who happen to be vampires living in a house in New Zealand. A flat in New Zealand.
Right.
And their wacky adventures leading up to a strange masquerade ball. The Unholy
Masquerade.
Unholy Masquerade. It was interesting.
It's unique.
It is a unique movie.
It is a very unique movie.
I think, strictly as a comedy, Dane, what do you think about it?
I thought it was funny. I did think it was funny. I thought it was pretty funny, actually. But not for how... It wasn't funny in the sense of like a Judd Apatow movie or like a Will Ferrell movie or anything like that. Like it wasn't like, all these quotable lines that you can throw out and be like, oh, that one-liner was so good, or like that whatever crazy scenario they get into. It was mostly like funny because of, I thought for the most part, clever writing. Like I thought the writing was pretty good. And also... there's a lot of physical comedy in there, like with them floating around and like
they're flying is goofy as hell.
It is really goofy, and like there's something about the movie that feels like just cheesy enough, like just enough cheese to where you're like it's kind of like endearing in a way. You're like, oh, this is so stupid, but it's so funny. And also like all of the like Taika Waititi especially, but all of the characters and actors in that movie have like the best expressions. Like when the camera will cut to them and like something crazy will be happening and they'll kind of just do a little glance at the camera. Like all that stuff is so well timed. And like, I'm a big fan of the mockumentary style stuff in The Office and like Parks and Rec or like whatever, where the camera will do like, like a slam zoom on someone and like, or just like the way the camera is kind of erratically like watching everything is always funny to me. But yeah, no, I thought it was funny. As a comedy, it's very different from... I would almost say it's different in the sense that like British humor is different. Yeah. Because I feel like this is like a different type of humor in general. Yeah. I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say like European humor or like New Zealand humor or anything like that, but
it's almost like sketch comedy at a certain point. Just like they're doing these like bits over, like there's no just like straight jokes in there. They're not saying like no punchlines are in that movie.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's not really any moment where like you're sitting like, oh, well, that was supposed to be like a big laugh. Yeah. It was just like the whole movie is just ridiculous. And like the scenarios that they're in and the things that are happening and how they're reacting to it is what's funny. So I thought it was good. I thought in that sense they nailed it.
Yeah.
But it was also very different than what I'm used to.
Yeah. It was very situational, as you guys were saying, because there's not huge punchlines and stuff.
Which honestly, I like when it's pulled off well.
It's honestly more like you kind of get your own enjoyment out of it. I love how it's like it's not so much ha funny as cerebral.
Kind of
like
they're
it's kind of a diss, but it's also like true.
Yeah.
Well, it's not what that's what I mean. Like when you watch Step Brothers or whatever, there's laugh out loud moments in there because of like crazy jokes that they say that are like a team of people in a room are like, oh, this would be so funny if Will Ferrell said this or whatever, or maybe it was improv or anything. But in this one, it's like. It's more funny just because you just because of the fact that it's funny. Like, that the fact that this guy is flying up towards this window and like knocking on the window and talking to someone is so stupid.
Yeah. I will say any of the parts where they're flying are funny. Those are my favorite things
hilarious.
in the movie.
Yeah,
I would laugh at that.
They're like so obviously on wires and stuff like that, like floating around. And just like the first scene where they do that is I think it's Taika Waititi's character and another guy. They're like fighting with each other, and they just like immediately lift out of their chairs, and they're just like banging against each other, like in the air, just like hissing at each other.
It looks it looks so stupid, and like
it's really fun.
There's a lot of moments in there where you probably think like the reason I really like comedy like this, especially, and I haven't watched as much of The Office, so I don't even know why I'm comparing to that. That's just because it's the only like logical.
It's definitely comparable.
Yeah. Like I just haven't seen much of The Office, so I can't say it was just like that scene with whoever. But there's a lot of moments in that kind of show or movie where that like they were only moments away from laughing like hysterically at what they were doing. Like when that kind of stuff is happening, you're just wondering how they were able to keep a straight face during that particular scene. And there's so many cuts and so many times where they're jumping from scene to scene, especially with the mockumentary style, where you think like in between any of those scenes, they could have just been like laughing their ass off because the things that they're doing are just ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like when they like have like the bag of crucifixes or whatever, like the stakes, and they're like hissing at it, and then as soon as they close the bag, they're like, all right, and then they just like go back to talking
cover it. Cover the crucifix.
Like all that kind of stuff is so great. Like. And like the whole werewolves not swearwolves thing, where
that
like the
werewolf bit was weird, but also
it was
funny.
super weird. And like there's a lot of times where this kind of humor is like I think and they even did this in Thor Ragnarok, where it kind of flips your expectations a little bit, where you kind of expect one thing or one joke or like one person to do or say or be whatever they're gonna be. And then it just flips it on its head a little bit. And then it's kind of funny in its own way because of the way that you built up your expectations or the way that like you were like, oh, I know how stories work. I know that this is going to be this joke or whatever. And then they kind of flip it all over, which is cool.
I really
because it kind of keeps you engaged in the movie.
I felt like partway through the movie, I was like, okay, like where are they going with this? And then they introduced the new, like one of their new vampires, Nick, who was just like a normal guy, like a month beforehand, and his friend Stu, who is just a human but hangs out with them, and he was like he was completely deadpan serious the entire time, didn't even crack jokes, but the way everyone else like treated him and acted with him was like genuinely funny to me every time. I was like, oh, what's up, Stu? Hey, Stu, dude, I love Stu. Stu is so great. He's like teaching them how to do like karate and use the internet and stuff. It's just like, all right. This is weird, but he's so funny.
Stupid.
Really that definitely saved it for me. Like I wasn't sure if I could like do the whole movie with just like them three, but adding that like modern element definitely helped out a lot.
Stu was the MVP in that movie for me.
I feel like this movie and Thor Ragnarok are like the two ends of the spectrum, where this movie has like subtle jokes where it's like not even you don't even like laugh, like you're not even triggered to laugh, but you know that it's funny.
Yeah.
Whereas Thor is like just such a like obvious punchline, and sometimes that's to its detriment because you're like, okay, I know they want me to laugh, but I'm not going to. Yeah. But there's genuinely funny moments in both films.
I agree. Yeah. So. Like I don't think in What We Do in the Shadows I didn't crack up during the movie. I definitely chuckled quite a few times. Like there are some like funny like writing in there and funny lines in there that pop up, and just funny things that happen. But yeah, a lot of the funniest parts for me were just the physical comedy. There's also a couple things in there where I thought they were gonna go a different route with or go very dramatic, because there's a couple scenes like especially with I think her name was Jackie, who's like a servant to one of the vampires. She was like, yeah, I've been waiting about 4 years to be turned into a vampire. I kind of have just been doing nothing with my life. I'm kind of getting old. I kind of want you to turn me into a vampire. And like he never does. I was like, wow, that's really dark and kind of sad. And that same thing happens with another servant where he's like, I'm 90 years old and I've done nothing with my life. You told me you're going to turn me into a vampire. I was just like, wow.
And they're on Skype and he's like, all right, we got to go.
He's like, hang up.
Just hangs up on him.
Like that was fun. I was like, but that's messed up and dark. But they don't really go anywhere with that. But I thought that was interesting, but they don't do anything with that really.
Vampire is the real monster.
Yeah. They always are.
Man. Yeah.
Any other thoughts about the movie?
I don't think I've ever seen a comedy like this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen British humor, like skits and stuff that are similar, but definitely not anything exactly like this. It's exactly in the style of Office, or what is it? The Office, and Parks and Rec, or whatever that is, which is not my favorite style, so it definitely couldn't be my favorite movie just because of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And quite frankly, the parts for me where the cuts where they're talking to the camera, I don't, off the top of my head, don't think any of those parts were particularly that funny. It was the actual bits that they were doing in the actual movie.
It was like the contrast between what they were saying. And
but there are a couple of funny cuts in there where they're just like, have funny reactions, but their dialogue in that part wasn't that interesting to me. It was what they were actually doing beforehand. Usually it's funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of, I feel like it's almost like to comedy what found footage is to horror. Like, it injects an element of realism, but at the cost of it possibly being less, like, dramatic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably true. But I think, I'm trying to think if I would have liked this movie better or worse if it wasn't documentary style. And I actually think that the documentary style served it pretty well.
There's some bits that they couldn't have really done without it. But.
Yeah, there's that, and also, like, there's something funny about it because they were like from the very beginning, they set it up as like an actual documentary. Like, these are like real people, and like real vampires or whatever. And so when they get it out of the way, that it's not like, obviously it's a movie, but in the very beginning, when they get it out of the way that is a movie and you feel like you're watching a documentary, they go all in with the realism, supposed realism, and like the seriousness about it, which I think adds another level of comedy.
I kind of wish, like obviously they did the parts where they cut to the people and talk to them one-on-one to the camera or whatever, but I wish they had done more with the actual camera person. I feel like that's a missed opportunity in this movie. They use them, like, once at the end where they get attacked by werewolves, but, like, because it even starts at the beginning, like, oh, these camera people got blessed and have, like, crucifixes on them, and, like, they've been sanctioned to do this and stuff, but they don't ever, like, the camera person is not really a character in that. I feel like they could have done that to a better effect for some joke somewhere, but it just doesn't really happen.
Yeah.
At the beginning, there were some hard cuts where they clearly, like, went to a completely different take, and it was kind of jarring. And I was like, oh, if they do this all throughout the movie, that might be kind of annoying. But they actually only did it for, like, the first few scenes, which was kind of interesting. Yeah. And the rest of it was fairly well cut. The other thing I was going to say is that I feel like the funniest joke in the movie was the first joke of the movie, where he came out of his coffin. Like, it's impossible. It's a visual gag where he just rises out of his coffin, but he's also looking at the camera, like, smiling the whole time. He's like, and then he walks over to the camera and just, like, looks at the camera and smiles.
Yeah.
And
it's great.
You know everything you need to know about that character.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, my takeaway is the visual, like, physical gags were the funniest part of this movie.
Oh yeah, they were great.
Because they look so goofy and they're played extremely goofy. Like, actually, and one of the other parts is where they have police officers come over. Yeah. And, like, a bunch of people are, like, there's, like, 3 guys, like, fighting, and they're all, like, one dude is just straight floating again, like, in the corner, and they're just a really dumb just joke, and they were like, all right, we're gonna hypnotize these cops so they can't see, like, anything strange, and, like, it's kind of funny. But
yeah, that was a good bit.
That was funny because, all this crazy stuff is happening. These guys are clearly floating in the air, and then they're like, no, what is that? And then it's like some, like, very minor, like, safety infraction or something like that, or, like, very...
The first one was like, what is that up there? And, like, the dude is in the corner, he's just like...
And he's literally floating.
He's like, there's no fire alarm.
Yeah, there's no smoke alarm. And then the other one is, like, they're about to leave, and then there's, like, there's literally a body on the floor, and they're like... Yeah. What's this? And it's like, well, he, like, had a little too much to drink or whatever it was. And that's like, well, he's not gonna have a good night on the floor. Like, he's gonna wake up and feel terrible. And, like,
you can do something with him.
Yeah, and then right after that, they're like, what is that? And then the music always changes. It's like, dun, like, does, like, an ominous noise, and they're like, you have a candle on top of that bucket, like right underneath that power outlet or something like that.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Like that's a fire hazard with no smoke alarm. Like that stuff is so stupid. Like that's the kind of thing that reminds me of British humor.
Yeah.
Where it's like so. I don't even know how to describe exactly what it is. It's just so like serious.
It's kind of like screwball. Yeah, do you say serious?
It's like dry and like.
Yeah, I guess it's a little dry.
There's something about it where it's like it's not really played as comedy, but it's supposed to be funny.
It's a little like offbeat a little bit, or kind of just not quite. Like it's semi-serious.
You could probably call it subtle to some degree.
Yeah, it's semi-serious, but you can tell the people in there are genuinely like you feel like they're in on it a little bit, which makes it.
Yeah, like it's funny because you know that it's a joke, and you know that they know it's a joke, but they're being completely serious. Like in that, they don't smile or like say anything that could be like taken as a joke in that scene. It's just the situation that they're in that makes it funny. Like there's something that I like about that.
All right, Coulter, how about you give this whatever your recommendation or not is?
Okay, well, I definitely recommend this to you, anyone out there that enjoys The Office or Parks and Rec or anything like that. If you enjoy that style. If you like Flight of the Conchords, might as well give this a watch, because it's similar style of humor, I suppose, and some of the same people. Otherwise, I don't think you need to see this movie. It turns out that it would have been okay if I never watched this movie because I didn't love it. Yeah. It was good, like for one-time viewing, but I'm never gonna watch it again. And yeah, it sounded a little negative at the end. You sound
very negative, yeah.
I mean,
but I think you guys get it.
I agree.
What we've said so far.
I agree.
There's some funny stuff in there, but nothing extraordinary.
Like you're not gonna bust out in tears laughing during this movie. You're gonna at most chuckle at a couple funny bits in there, but for the most part, you're just like, oh yeah, that's a funny situation, and then you move on to the next bit. So
yeah, I guess one of its greatest strengths is being unique. So
yeah. I would also say that I mainly enjoyed it because it was unique and an interesting take on a mockumentary. I mean, that style is similar pretty much across the board, no matter what you watch, but the setting is unique. Some of the stuff they do is funny. The visual gags are funny, but overall, I'm gonna give this 4 vampires living in a flat out of 7. So
nice. Just real quick, I'll be interested to see how this compares to Spinal Tap, because that's also a mockumentary.
That's true.
I didn't know that. Interesting. Dane, final thoughts.
I thought it was funny. It was very unique, which I appreciate for movies these days. When did this come out? Was it like a few years ago?
I couldn't tell you.
Within the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, so nowadays there is just so much drivel being shoveled out of Hollywood that I appreciate when something like this comes along, where I feel like Taika Waititi has a very clear and one other director. I don't know the other director, but
Jermaine Clement, one of the guys from Flight of the Conchords.
Yeah, who was also in the movie, right?
Vlad.
Yep. So I feel like
Vlad. Sorry, I just interrupted everything.
Vlad out of 10. All right.
I feel like I appreciate unique storytellers and directors nowadays. So I appreciated it for that reason. And overall, it was just kind of like it was like a fun movie. Like I felt like I was entertained for most, if not the entire movie. I thought the pacing was good. I didn't really have any like severe problems with it. I think it probably could have been a little funnier for the fact that it was just a pure comedy, but it wasn't that, like, what they did in there was funny. And I again, the situations and all that kind of stuff I thought were pretty good. I think maybe I just would have liked more like balls out, like straight up humor, like jokes and gags and things like that, or like set pieces or something. But it also kind of felt like indie in a way. Like it was very like, I don't know if it was low budget. Maybe not, but it was relatively, because it's just one location. It's like 1 or 2 locations the entire movie, pretty much. And yeah, I don't know, something about it kind of felt very quaint and like cozy, like a little homemade, like fun comedy.
Like a small flat.
That's right, and you could tell that's right, but then you could also tell that which is something I really liked. You can tell that they're having a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah.
Like you can just tell that they're just really happy to be doing that. So I don't know, it's like a feel good movie. Like I felt good watching it. So I'm gonna go with
like the movie Chef.
That's right. I haven't seen that movie. I'm gonna go with 7.5 out of 10.
All right. I do think the movie is about as long as it should be. It ended right when I was like, "Is it over?" And then it just ends. I was like, "Okay, good."
It's a good. It's a good length.
It almost dragged out a little bit longer, but it's not. It's not a long movie at all. Not. And I was thoroughly like checked into the movie the entire time. I didn't like get bored while watching it, but I'm certainly glad it ended when it did because it could have dragged out. But.
Yeah, I was never bored. I thought the pacing was good. I think there's only so much you can do with that, like the small of a like area and like that kind of storyline. I think they were smart in the way they handled it.
I agree.
I would say that if I didn't know what this movie was and I was just watching TV and it was on and I did catch the beginning of it, I might change the channel during a commercial break.
Yeah. Like,
really?
Depending on what part of the movie it was on, I would have been like, I'm good. But because I was forced to watch this movie, I watched all of it and I'm okay with it. I'm not upset that I watched the movie. I wasn't bored by it, but it's not, you don't need to get out of your seats to go run to watch this.
And I heard like really good things about it too. So it's like, I don't think it, I was expecting it could be, triumphant, crazy, like, out of the box, like must see, and it's not.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Well, Taika Waititi.
I liked it a lot.
Didn't come out with his hardest hitter in the first movie we watched, but we did see another movie by Mr. Waititi.
I like that.
Thank you. Thor Ragnarok. We probably shouldn't spoil this too much. I generally just kind of want to hear what you guys thought about it since we didn't really talk about it too much. But Dane, what did you think of Thor Ragnarok?
I loved it.
All right.
I thought it was really good.
I would probably change the channel.
You know what? Commercial break, I'd change the channel.
You hadn't seen any of the Thor movies before this, right?
Yeah, I'm in an interesting position because I'll say it right now. Thor is my least favorite Avenger.
Okay.
I don't like him that much.
That's fine.
On screen, like, in the comics, he's whatever. He's cool. He's a god. I think it's a little cheap that he's a god. But we're in that realm. We're in that realm now in the MCU where it's like, okay,
everyone's a god.
There's the Vision, who's like, what is Vision? I don't know. He's been crafted.
He sucks, whatever it is. But anyways,
his backstory was shit.
Yeah, it was, and so there's that, and then there's.
But Ultron is a great movie, right?
I liked Ultron. I'll say it. Fuck off. And then we have Thanos, like intergalactic god. Pretty much. Mm-hmm. So it's whatever. Like. I can't really just sit here and be like, he's a god. It's not fair that he's in the MCU.
Star-Lord, half a god.
He's a celestial. Careful.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. So stuff like that seems weird to me. But the reason I don't like him is because I'm always so bored by him. Like, he never does anything that cool in the movies. I don't think. Like, he'll use his. I can count on maybe three occasions maybe that he's done something cool with thunder or lightning or his supposed god powers or whatever, which is so underutilized. And then also he's the most he's a potato pretty much. He's so bland, just an unseasoned potato.
Yeah.
I hate the way he talks. What? I just hate his character. It's so annoying to watch him in the Avengers and all these movies. So I never watched the first Thor when it came out. I remember our friend Kermit was really excited to watch the first Thor movie, and even he thought it was just okay. And
I've seen the first Thor movie as well, and
I don't think we need to save the I don't think we need to protect the innocent on that.
Yeah, that's fine. His name doesn't need to be blocked out for that. But I've seen the first Thor. I genuinely when I first saw it, I don't think that's a bad movie. It's probably one of the mid-tier Marvel movies.
Yeah,
it might be slightly boring because it's just not a whole lot happens in that movie. But
sorry, which one?
The first Thor.
Mm-hmm.
But Thor, I mean, I liked him in that movie. Like, it's the classic, oh, the alien comes to Earth and he doesn't understand the rules and he's a weird dude and stuff.
That's interesting.
And it's like, that's funny when, like, the first couple times it happens, but that quickly wears out. And that was his shtick for every other point in the film. It was like, well, here comes Thor. He doesn't understand how Earth works and he's a dude with lightning that he barely uses sometimes.
Yeah, and then, like, in Avengers, he's fine. Like, Chris Hemsworth, like, he gives a good performance for what he's given, but I just don't think, like, anything really interesting ever happens with him. And then The Dark World came out, and I heard that, like, I think they do have one of the Infinity Stones in there, and there's, like, a more of a focus on, like, the, like, universal aspect of Asgard and how they're, like, meant to protect and, like, all that kind of stuff. So that seemed kind of interesting, but I also, even when those trailers came out, I just never found myself drawn to Thor that much.
I saw bits and pieces of Dark World is what that one's called, and it seemed very much like just Thor doing action stuff like against CGI, ice and fire giants and stuff. I was like, like, it's
like, I'm sure it's fine. Like, I'm sure the action is good.
Yeah.
There isn't a Marvel movie that I've watched where I just hated every second of it, so I don't think I'd hate those movies, but yeah, anyway, I haven't seen those. I don't really care about Thor that much. I'm bored by him. And then when I found out that this movie was being directed by Taika Waititi, I hadn't seen any of his stuff, but I recognized his name. And I thought to myself, wow, this is going to be like it could be another James Gunn Guardians situation where, like, one, it did look a lot like Guardians or more similar to Guardians in the sense that it was a lot more lighthearted and goofy and super out there and random. And it's, like, super colorful. And, like, zany and everything. And so I thought, wow, this could either go really well or it could go absolutely horribly because it's Thor.
Yeah.
And those historically haven't been the most popular Marvel movies anyway. So I was kind of concerned, but as the trailers came out, like, when the first, like, full-length trailer came out and I watched it, I was already on board.
I remember watching the trailer when I first saw it, and that was the first thought I had. I was like, wow, they did a complete turnaround on his character here.
Complete 180.
Definitely are riding the Guardians of the Galaxy train.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about this movie early in the podcast life cycle, and I was like, I'm like, it's one of the Marvel movies I'm most interested in just because of how wildly different it was from the first two, and it needed to be because I like Thor. Like, even liking the first movie, I just didn't care about Thor that much. He was just a boilerplate cookie cutter dude with
exactly. There's nothing interesting about him. There's no, like, he was always just there.
Yeah. But Thor Ragnarok. Good. In fact, probably my third favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah. I would agree with that. I think I would probably have to agree with that. Maybe 3 or 4.
First place being Spider-Man 3.
That's right.
That's right.
Just the singular, just the capital S scene from Spider-Man 3.
Capital S.
The one scene that everyone knows and loves, and that's all we need to talk about.
We know the scene.
But, yeah, I might be a purported Marvel movie hater. Not a hater, but
you're a critic.
People are super fans of those movies, and I see why people like them. I generally don't for a couple reasons. One is the writing. 2 is the CGI. In Thor Ragnarok, I thought the writing was excellent in a lot of parts. It's funny a lot of the time, as opposed to a lot of other Marvel movies where they're like, okay, let's try to balance having these, like, heavy moments and also let's have some nice action and be, like, funny with our cheesy jokes. And they come off so cheesy that I just check out. I'm like, yeah, I don't, like, you guys are just doing the same thing over and over again. I don't care. I had that feeling with Spider-Man. And this movie, like, the writing was funny. It was just generally funny a lot of the time, which is key because I feel like that Thor Ragnarok just does not take itself as seriously as all the other Marvel movies.
Not at all.
And is way better for it. Like, it understands exactly what it's doing. It's like, yeah, we are done being, like, serious Thor, dude. Like, let's just have a fun movie, and that's what you need to do. Like, just have fun with the movie. Everyone in there is having fun and cracking good jokes, and it's funny. The fighting, mostly CGI stuff, but Thor, at least, looks really cool in this one and has some epic fights. It's also backed up by some epic music, which is key in intriguing those fights. That was fun for me. But
I thought all the action in the movie was actually really good.
It's good. There were a couple where I was like, yeah, you know, like everyone's seen like the Hulk trailer. If I was like, yeah, he's gonna fight Hulk.
That fight was pretty good.
It's cool. again, it's a lot of CGI, and it's fine. I'm a little bit more fine with it in this movie because everything in this movie is CGI mostly. Like, there's not a whole lot of practical work in there. Like, they're doing a ton of CGI with just about everything. And so it's very quickly like, all right, if this is what it's going to be, then, you know, whatever. Like, you're on a weird alien, like, space planet. Okay, that's fine. I can take that.
Yeah.
It's things like Spider-Man Homecoming, which is like, they're set on Earth. They're doing things that a real person could be doing, but they just don't. Yeah. And that's what bothers me a lot, because that takes the immersion down for me.
We all know what it looks like for stuff on Earth.
I've seen people fighting real people. You don't need to have 2 CGI suits doing that. Just put a couple dudes in there and have them box or something. You know, it's not. Come on, we know how to do that.
Yeah,
like, we can't have a giant green man fight a lightning man in real life. So I'm fine having CGI do that.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Hulk, it would have been great to not know that the Hulk was going to be the.
That was a major part of that movie, and I was like, why you guys spoiled that in the trailer?
Like, they built up so much, like, in the movie. Like, it took a lot of time to build it up, and like, Thor gets like he doesn't get scared. Thor doesn't get scared at any point, but you know, as scared as he could be of, like, okay, there's an intimidating foe coming down the pipeline. Like, they take great lengths to show that this, you know, creature has bested everyone else,
and
before.
It's like a major plot point too, where it's like, who is he gonna? He's gonna fight the champion, or like everyone in the theater knows who that is. Like,
everyone's seen the it's the teaser trailers. Not even like everybody's seen it. We all know Thor.
I didn't watch any
Hulk is in the movie.
Other trailer, and I knew that already. It was like, well, that was a major point in the movie. Man. Come on. But I mean, whatever.
Yeah, I understand why you have to like sell. Hulk. It's the same with Harrison Ford.
Yeah, which
is possibly even more egregious in Blade Runner, because it's not until 2/3 of the way done with the movie before you even see him. But I digress. The Hulk, I wish I didn't know about him, but obvious. And I understand why they had to do it, because you sell the movie as Hulk plus Thor, you get more butts in seats.
Yeah. But what did you think of the movie in general?
I liked the movie. I don't know. I didn't have like a super strong opinion about it. I wasn't like, oh, this is like the best Marvel movie, but it was definitely, it felt way more fresh than even Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah, I think this is a better Guardians movie than Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was. Like, it's more interesting than Guardians 2 for me.
Yeah, it's weird how that's the case. I feel like this same cast in a new movie might not be as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Like, Thor Ragnarok 2 might not be as good as Guardians of the Galaxy 2, but it probably won't be like Thor Ragnarok 2. But
no.
Yeah, I don't know. I definitely liked the movie. Funny. There's just so much within the movie, and if you've been sticking with the Marvel like cinematic universe for this long, it's like you're gonna find something to like, because they're just stuffing so much in there. As far as like Asgard and stuff like that, get rid of Asgard. I'm glad that hopefully we won't see any more Asgard again.
And again, I think that goes to show that the most interesting parts of that movie are when Thor is not dealing with stuff on Asgard. Like, that place is fine, but it's not as interesting as the cool space, like, junk cities and the cool, just, you know, like, I want to see the places that we don't see all the time in the Marvel movies, and Asgard is, I know what Asgard looks like. Yeah, it's not that interesting of a place.
Becoming a little tired.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just enjoyed, this movie was just super fresh, like you said, and it was just the most fun that I've had at a Marvel movie, and also just the least just straight up disappointed I've been by the last few that I've watched, because everyone that comes out, everyone's like, this is a fantastic Marvel movie. And it's like, well, they all are. Everyone says that. Everyone said that for Guardians 2. People said that for
It's like people are surprised that they're going to be good. Like they're all basically good.
They all have $500 billion behind them. They're all fine movies, but they all follow the same like rote things that they do in every single movie. And this one finally is like, let's just have fun, and it shows. Like, it's just way more just fun than all the other movies I've seen lately.
So, I read something interesting. I don't know if I do think this is actually real and true, because I've heard the director and Chris Hemsworth and all them say it in interviews. But apparently, 80% of this movie roughly was improvised.
The dialogue?
Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously not the plot points.
Well, no, but like pretty much all of the dialogue was in some way or another improvised to a certain extent. They said that they had a script, that they loved the script and that the script was good, but then they would basically like shoot a scene, like a scene or two or whatever with the script and get that one done and be like, okay, we got the script scene or whatever, and then they would just let them kind of riff and like do whatever. So I think like especially a lot of the conversations between the Hulk and Thor,
I was about to say that,
like in Hulk and Bruce Banner, I feel like a lot of those are probably improvised. I feel like a lot of the conversations with, like, I'm sure Jeff Goldblum did a lot of improvisation. Like, a lot of that kind of stuff, I'm sure, was, like, all over the board.
We needed more Jeff Goldblum, I'll say that.
Yeah,
we needed a fair amount.
We needed more Jeff Goldblum.
I wanted more.
Because he's awesome. Jeff Goldblum is amazing.
A weird character in that movie, and he's pretty funny.
I was incredibly really surprised to like him as much as I did. Because when you see, like, older actors, like, kind of come back for, you know, big like, movies again, like you never know. You know.
No, I love Jeff Goldblum. He was pretty much just plain Jeff Goldblum.
That's right.
He was like cranked up to like 12.
Yeah.
And he's just ridiculous. But yeah, I like that. I don't know. Yeah, the movie did feel really fun. I mean, they literally made fun of themselves.
Yeah.
Like in the very beginning when they're doing that play, and those actors, like the cameos that they have, it's just so stupid.
There's also a really like good bit of writing at one of the ends where towards the end with Loki, and kind of like they riff on his character of being like, well, I'm going to team up with my brother, and then I'm going to betray him, and then I'm going to do this. And then, like, he comes back again at the end at one point. I'm going to briefly spoil this. He comes back at the end for one bit, and I can't remember. Is it Heimdall is the is Idris Elba's character? Is that who that is? He comes back. He's like, oh, Loki, you're back, or something like that. And or he's like, Loki's like, I'm back. And he's like, well, of course you are. It's like, well, because Loki always does that. And, like, that's the thing, because he knows, like, everyone, he always comes back. It's like, yes, like, good, like you guys at least recognize the tropes that you're doing, but you're playing into them well enough to make it funny.
And I feel like a lot of that was probably, I don't know if they did this. I mean, I'm sure part of this was because the first two Thor movies were just not that popular. Like it's not like they were even that bad. I don't think they were reviewed poorly at all, and they didn't like lose money on it or anything. But they definitely were not as popular as like Captain America: Winter Soldier. They were definitely not as popular as Guardians. Like any of the other standalone Avenger movies. Like Iron Man was definitely more popular. All that kind of stuff, except for maybe Hulk. That was like a weird storyline. But yeah, like maybe they just thought to themselves, okay, well it can't get any worse. Like let's just throw everything out the window and get like a crazy like comedy director to come in and just like turn everything on its head a little bit. But they did it more than just a little bit. Literally the entire movie was essentially just a comedy. But with enough drama in there.
I genuinely thought this is like one of the funniest, if not the funniest Marvel movie, next to Guardians maybe. Like even watching Guardians again, like not recently, but I was like, okay, that movie's pretty funny, but like this one, like I was laughing at multiple points in the movie. Like there's good jokes in there. And a lot of the...
I was laughing at
the action is good, and the ending scene in that movie is, like, completely awesome. Like, they play an epic song at the end, like, Thor is just finally going in, and, like, it was great, like, seeing his thing at the end. It's, like, it's completely absurd watching it. You're like, what the fuck are you, like, is happening right now? This is crazy, but it was awesome.
But that final sequence is...
It's awesome.
It's badass. Yeah. It's pretty badass.
Like, that's what you want to see from Thor, is like, yes, like, you're Thor, the god of thunder. Do your shit, dude. Shit, Like, you can do this. Yeah. And he does, and it's an excellent ending.
Yeah.
And an excellent movie overall, so highly recommend it.
Yeah, I was a really big fan. Like I said, it turned me into a fan of Thor.
Yeah.
I liked his character in this movie. Like... He was... I almost want to say that they had never really given him much of a, like, three-dimensional character. Like, anything to work with. Any sort of character traits. He was kind of just this, like, walking comic book god character where you kind of just knew everything you had to know about him because he's Thor, and everyone knows Thor from whatever, from anywhere. Whether you know, like, the mythology or you know Marvel comics, you know Thor. So... there was nothing really to learn. It was just that he was there and he talked like Shakespeare and he just sounded dumb as hell and it was annoying. Yeah. And now he was very entertaining in this movie. And I also think that Chris Hemsworth was probably having more fun playing this role.
I do think that his like character and speech is like part of his character arc, because he came to Earth directly from Asgard and talks like he's from Asgard. Yeah. And obviously he's been on Earth now a few years or whatever and continues on. So like I think that's part of his character shifting.
Yeah.
And so like it makes sense that he's doing that. But this is the first time they've been able to work with him doing that. Also, I really liked Hulk's like just character, like as Bruce Banner and also as Hulk, which is not something I've ever seen, I think, in a Marvel movie. Like a Hulk is a character and not just the dude who beats up people in this, which is like kind of cool to see.
I like that they're exploring like the toll that it takes on him being Hulk. It's not just like, all right, guys, that helicopter needs to go. I'll just transform into Hulk, fuck up that helicopter,
Hulk,
like destroy
take down
the
tank. The big thing.
Yeah, and that's essentially like his.
He does
job.
do that in this movie, but he has way more like interesting and funny parts. But like Banner was really funny in this.
Yeah.
What was the last movie that he was in? I don't.
It was Ultron.
Okay.
Because at the very end of Ultron, he leaves.
Oh right.
Because
he's
because he fucked up the city.
Oh.
Because he and Stark had that fight.
Oh right.
And then they were like, "This isn't good for you to be here anymore, champ." Yeah. And they sent him away, and he was on the Quinjet. And I think they explored that in the. Well, I don't want to spoil it, but they had the little recording from Black Widow talking about like they showed a little clip and they had a little recording talking about like what happened after Ultron.
Okay.
And that's why he was like, "Wait, I've been Hulk for 2 years," because like Sokovia happened and all that stuff, and then a lot of things actually happened. Every movie since Ultron happened in that time, and he's just been off like in space. And then apparently on this planet.
Yeah. So, go out there, watch Thor. It's a good Marvel movie. One of the better ones, to me, that's come out in a very long time.
Yeah, I think we talked about our ranking. For me, it was...
Give us your top 3.
Well, I mean, Guardians is easily number 1. And then Winter Soldier. And then maybe this?
Yeah, I think that's what mine is. I could probably flip-flop Guardians or Winter Soldier on a given day, but... I like both those movies a lot. This movie is easily my third favorite movie.
Yeah.
Marvel movie.
If anything would be coming close to that, maybe Civil War. I liked Civil War. Yeah. I know you didn't like that one that much.
I've said my piece on it.
Yeah. But yeah, Civil War is definitely my top 5. I don't know. That kind of stuff switches around, but I would say this is definitely in my top 5 at least.
Yeah, I agree.
I was a fan.
I have a couple more things to say. Yeah. I wasn't a huge fan of Hulk as a character, how he was like talking and stuff like that, just like being a dummy. Like he sounded like a dummy, like.
But he is.
I mean, that's funny. The point. He's like a big, dumb, green, aggressive monster. But it's like, yeah, that just kind of, I don't know. I just don't like that type of character. So that kind of annoyed me. And like the way Thor was having to like reason with him and stuff like that, it was like. I just don't like this dynamic, this bit. Yeah. That's just a super personal thing. And it definitely makes sense for like the Hulk versus Bruce Banner. I definitely appreciated the like dichotomy and the lengths they went for that. But just personally, I felt like him talking to Hulk for a long time and like trying to reason with the Hulk and stuff like that. It's just like, okay, this doesn't need to be in here. I feel like this is breaking up the movie, like slowing it down. Yeah. So that's a personal thing for me. The other thing I was gonna... Oh, I also wasn't a huge... We didn't bring her up even. The girl character, I don't even know what her name
Valkyrie.
is. Yeah, is that her name?
Well, that's who she is.
Yeah,
they don't ever give her a name because I think she like mentioned somewhere in there that she like tried to like bury her past or whatever. So I don't even think she has like... She has... Oh, she goes by her...
Scrapper.
Her Scrapper name. Yeah. So they just call her Valkyrie.
Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of her character. I feel like they could have cast someone more interesting in that role. Like it seemed like they just kind of randomly casted that. I don't know what she's been in or whatever, but like I felt like it could have been given more personality and like it definitely not bad at all, but I don't know. I feel like her character could have been better.
I feel like she was sort of billed as like the Gamora of this movie.
And I'm not a huge fan of Gamora.
I like Gamora now a little bit more than I originally did, but yeah, I can see that, I guess. I liked her, for what it's worth.
Yeah, I don't.
She definitely
think
wasn't the star of the show.
Yeah, I definitely don't think anything in this movie was bad, but I'm definitely not like, oh, like, let me see more of her. Like, she better become an Avenger or something like that. It's like, I don't care if I
didn't
see her again.
Her that much, but I do think she brought at least something interesting to the movie. And also the one part about Hulk is that, especially during the parts where it's Thor talking to Hulk, there are definitely bits in there where I was like, this is getting a little too like goofy and dumb. But to me, there were a couple of funny bits from him, but also it was mostly just the fact that Hulk was actually a character in that at one point and is able to communicate with Thor and not just have Banner transform into Hulk and then smash things. He was actually, Hulk is a character in that for like the first time.
Yeah.
And not just the part where it's the woman coming to like cool him down and he's just like a sad Hulk and like turning into a crying Banner. Like that's his thing and that's always been his thing. This time he's finally a character that can talk, which is steps towards making Hulk interesting to me, because for the most part I find him like he's a one-trick pony, because every time he appears on screen it's him taking down the big bad thing, but at least he can talk in this, and a bit, not a whole lot, but
it's an interesting development. I don't think I needed that,
sure,
personally.
All right.
Last thing is that when I was watching like the end fight with all the CG and like craziness, I was like I wish someone from before film could see this. Like, I wish someone from the really olden days could just like look at this and be like, my wildest dreams could not make what I'm seeing right now.
Seriously, this was like one of the first times where I was like, man, like I still was a little disappointed, like not disappointed, but like I wasn't amazed by the CG, but it looked cool. Like what they were doing was cool, and the shots they were doing were really cool looking. And it was like, yeah, I kind of feel like I'm watching a video game, but it's a fucking cool video game that's happening right now. Like, that's cool to me.
There was some really cool shots where, like, obviously they had him land and, like, they show, like, his eyes lighting up with the thunder and lightning, and you're like, oh shit, he looks dope.
Yeah.
But then he's like, you know, hitting people with like his fists, or like doing like hand-to-hand combat, but like shooting lightning out of his hands and things like that, which was cool. But then they kind of did the whole this actually reminded me of the cool shot from the Last Jedi trailer, the one that you've seen, where like Rey is swinging her lightsaber around and it shows it from super far away. They did that with when he's on the bridge. They zoom out really far away and all you see is the lightning like flashing on the bridge, but like it's like huge bursts of lightning and people are like blowing up and shit. And you realize like the magnitude of his power. Like when you see that, you're just like, oh man, like he's literally summoning like a lightning storm from his hand.
That ending scene is like, that was the part where I was like, fuck, and like I got chills. I was like, yes, Thor, like you're about to just fucking go in on someone right here, dude.
Because that's what I'm talking about. Like he's so fucking lame. Like in the other movies, he has some cool moments where like there's one part in Ultron that I really liked where Cap like runs into a group of people and puts his shield down, and then Thor hits his hammer on the shield really hard, and it's like this like shockwave or whatever. And so when I see that, I'm like, okay, that's awesome, because it's like Thor again, he has his hammer or whatever, which I'm glad they got rid of because it forced him to like grow as a character or whatever. But like when they do stuff like that, when they show just like a little bit of like his strength or any Avenger's strength, you're like, okay, they need to do that more because that was fucking awesome. And then in here, they literally just take the training wheels off, and they're like, all right, Thor, you can just go destroy, like, thousands of people.
Also, I'm glad he got a haircut, because not only does that...
He's looking fresh with
Not only does that signify him becoming a new person and a more developed character, he looked fucking dumb as hell with that long hair. Chris Hemsworth, just cut your fucking hair, dude. Just leave it cut.
I think that might have been for the ladies.
He's a handsome man without that long hair. He was looking
fresh. He got that fresh cut, dude.
Yeah, he has that fresh fade.
Got that sick fade.
He got that sick fade.
He had that fucking fade.
He went to the space barber and said, fuck me up, fam.
Yeah. It was like...
Stan Lee.
Yeah, Stan Lee.
Yeah. To me, that, like, represents him, like, shedding off the rest of his dumb, like, Asgard shit. And he's just like, all right, I actually am a person at this point. I'm done being Asgard.
You should write an article about that.
Thank you, I will.
You should write a dissertation.
Thor's hair is shit. Now
just
he
like
looks
his old
lit.
movies.
Call it now all y'all need to strip off that Asgard shit.
Yeah, fuck off Asgard. Is my dissertation.
No more Asgard. Asgard, more like Asgard. They made that joke in the movie, which I thought was funny. They made fun of everything.
They did. Good on them. They need to.
I liked it. I liked that it was very self-aware.
Taika Waititi was a hilarious character.
Yeah. Korg, we would be
so subtly funny.
Not to mention Korg, a great comic relief character in there.
Yeah, he's a little rockman.
His voice is like just so funny.
So meek.
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah,
hey, man.
It is very meek.
Well, I'm the leader around these parts, so I guess you can say hi to this guy over here.
As soon as that character was introduced, I was like, this guy's awesome.
Yeah,
this guy is so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good. The thing I liked about this movie, and similar to what we do in The Shadows, is that it's very lighthearted. Like it's very in good spirit. Like everything that's happening, you're like, I'm sure that he was just smiling and like laughing up a storm with his friends on set. Like, because I heard he wasn't very strict, obviously, because he was letting them kind of flow and do whatever they want and riff on certain things in the movie, and during production. And from what it sounded like, he wasn't a very like, you know, rough and tough, like, you know, grueling director or anything like that. Yeah. It seemed like it was probably a really, really fun set to be on, and you can just feel that throughout the entire movie. Like, the movie just feels fun and happy, and there is drama in there, and they balance the excessive amount of comedy well with the action and the drama that they need to have.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it really did just feel like a comedy. And that's saying a lot, because typically, like you were saying with Marvel movies, they try to toe a line, or they just try to throw it so much in one or the other direction that when one of the other things happens, like a piece of action or too much comedy, you're like, oh, this doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Like, this doesn't need to be here in this place, at least, or in this scene. But in here, it's like, it's almost surprising when it's not funny. Like, you're almost just expecting a joke around every corner. And they don't really give you time to laugh and, like, appreciate everyone, because every scene just has another ridiculous scene and scenario. So I liked it. I was impressed again and again throughout the movie.
Watch the movie, people, if you haven't.
Yeah. I would say, even if you don't like Thor, like me, watch the damn movie. You'll probably like Thor.
I agree.
I'll say that.
If you liked Guardians, probably watch this movie, because it differentiated itself enough for me to not just call it a straight up like Guardians clone, but it does certainly take influence from it.
Guardians has a different feel to it, and I don't know exactly how to even describe that, but it definitely, this movie feels a lot different than Guardians.
Yeah. Feels more like a true like MCU original series movie.
Yeah.
Sure. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy seems like it could be its own thing.
Yeah, Guardians doesn't, in a lot of ways, doesn't even really feel like a Marvel movie that much, which is, I think, is one of its greatest strengths in a weird way.
I feel like we shouldn't go on this tangent, but I feel like maybe the second movie, maybe it wasn't as good because it seemed more like a Marvel movie than a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I think one of my complaints is that one was definitely, like, it suffered from sequelitis and also suffers from Hollywood bigwig, let's make this the marketable movie that we know Marvel movies are. And it loses some of its uniqueness that the first one, like, the reason the first one is one of my favorites is because it's so wildly different. And the second one is just like, okay, you guys are...
The first one had a lot of heart. Yeah, the first one had a lot of heart. It was very, like... It was almost like the underdog. Like, they were kind of doing what they wanted in that movie, but they knew that they had to prove themselves a little bit. So when you're watching that, you kind of feel like... I don't know, you kind of feel like James Gunn was almost trying to, like, prove something in a way.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked ad nauseum about it.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about it again, but... Guardians of the Galaxy 2 was trying to be too big, and I think it got too big for its britches.
All right. We're done with Marvel.
All right.
Forever. We're not watching the next Marvel movie.
No more Marvel.
Do you guys have any other movies you want to talk about before we move on?
I saw this movie called What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, please.
Got him.
A Taika Waititi joint, I hear.
Did I already tell you guys that I watched War for the Planet of the Apes and Annabelle Creation?
No.
I didn't.
I'm sorry.
That?
No.
I watched War for the Planet of the Apes and Annabelle Creation.
I'm sorry to both.
What?
I heard War was good.
Yeah, I know people like that movie, but it's dumb because monkeys are riding horses, and that's all
that movie was very good.
That's a harsh critique.
That was a really good movie. War for the Planet of the Apes was awesome. I don't really want to say anything about it because, well, you guys clearly don't care about it. But
no, I might watch it, so don't.
I won't spoil anything, but it did not go where I expected it to go, and I thought it was actually it might be my favorite of the trilogy.
Okay.
It closed off very well. The final, like, actually the entire movie is great, but the final actual like ending sequence is awesome. It's really good, and there's a lot of interesting like philosophical points that they bring up. Like, it's a lot more like intelligent than I think a Planet of the Apes movie needs to be, or people thought it would be. It's actually pretty smart, so I like that a lot. And then Annabelle Creation, actually a pretty good movie.
Yeah, I heard it wasn't as bad as
I haven't seen
some of the other
ones.
ones.
I haven't seen the original Annabelle. I haven't seen the second Conjuring, but I know that people like the second Conjuring. I love the Conjuring, the first one. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
This movie, Annabelle Creation, I didn't really know what to expect because I didn't hear great things at all about Annabelle. And I also don't really care about the whole creepy doll thing. Like, I didn't really get on the whole hype train of, like, Annabelle is so creepy. Like, this movie is so scary. Mm-hmm. But as I watched it, there's actually a lot of cool, like, filmmaking stuff that they do in there. Like, a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of... I don't think it's James Wan directing. He might have produced it. But there's a lot of Insidious and Conjuring-style things where the monsters are practical. And they're like, it's just some guy like painted and has like, you know, effects and all kinds of weird stuff on him. So when you see the monster for however briefly, you're like, oh damn, like that looks crazy. Like the Darth Maul did at the end of Insidious, or like, I don't know, there's other stuff that he's done, where you see it and you're just kind of like in your, you know, that's going to be like burned into your head because you're like, oh god, that looks like fucking scary as shit. And there is stuff like that in here, but then there's also a lot of, real things that happen to the actors. Like the actors, I watched the behind the scenes thing about it. They're actually getting thrown around. Like there's a scene where the demon like off screen like propels some lady like out of her chair or something, and she literally flies out of her chair into like a mirror or like a window or something, and just shatters it completely. And like her body's getting thrown around the room like a rag doll pretty much, and it's just crazy. And then it was actually just a lot of these actresses. I'm assuming it was the actual actresses on wires getting thrown around and doing crazy stuff. And they were like, the whole thing is that Annabelle, or these girls go to like this orphanage where Annabelle resides, that they later find out or whatever. But all the girls are like, you know, between the ages of like 12 and like 17, 16 or something like that. So they're all younger girls. And a lot of this crazy shit is actually just happening to them. So there was like a cool element of realism to it. It wasn't just like a CGI like horror movie scare fest. So I appreciated it. But then there's also just a lot of surprises and kind of interesting. I don't know if they're trying to build a universe around like stuff outside of The Conjuring. Yeah. It kind of feels like it could go either way, but it was a lot better than it should have been. I think it very easily could have been that like stupid doll movie, and I don't think it was that. I think it was actually a pretty good horror movie.
All right.
So if people who are listening, if you liked Insidious and you liked The Conjuring, I haven't seen The Conjuring 2, so I can't say anything about that, but if you liked either of those movies, you will probably really enjoy Annabelle Creation. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the same director. It feels like it, but it's not.
They definitely have a full-on like universe of
the Conjuring cinematic universe.
Yeah,
it seems
it's basically like the Insidious or the James Wan. Like
it seems a little wild. This one takes place in the 70s, so I think the way I understood is that this is obviously, given the title, it's a prequel to Annabelle, and I think that even Annabelle was a prequel to The Conjuring.
Yeah.
So this is somewhat well before, like what are their names? The Warrens. That's who they are. The detectives and the investigators. It's before they ever do any of that kind of stuff. So
yeah,
it's interesting. But yeah, no, there's a lot of really cool horror stuff that I like real effects, real like scary things happening to people. There's a lot of like psychological stuff happening with the girls, and like of course there's like possession and all this kind of weird stuff, but there were some elements of like classic horror in there, which was cool.
I've seen The Conjuring 2 and it was decent. So.
Yeah, no, I heard that was good. I do want to watch it, but I remember really enjoying the first Conjuring.
Yeah.
And Insidious. So I would recommend it.
Yeah.
It was a surprise.
People freak out about those movies, but I will say that I don't care, and I will never go out of my way to watch any of these in the future.
Yeah.
I just don't care about Supernatural. I saw it. I honestly don't remember much of it at all. I wasn't a huge fan. I only remember like one scare, and it was because like nothing really jumped out or anything like that. So yeah, I remember one scare of it, and I remember I remember more of Insidious because that was kind of iconic at the time. They had some really interesting scares, but as far as going forward, I just don't care about that cinematic universe at all.
No,
CCU.
That's the thing. I didn't care, and I don't think I really even care that much now. But that Annabelle Creation movie kind of caught me by surprise because I didn't know what to expect from it, and I did thoroughly expect it to be that CGI kind of, the doll is gonna trip someone down the stairs and it's gonna be crazy and like it's gonna be shooting lasers out of her eyes or something stupid, but it was actually a lot more grounded than I thought it would be, and a lot more like competently made than I thought it would be too. So it was good. I actually liked it a lot.
All right.
I think those are the only other movies I've seen recently.
Coulter?
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any other movies.
All right, we are tight on time here. Shall we get into video games?
No.
No, it's stop it here. No.
I'm fine here.
I'm good.
I'm fine right here.
Let's very quickly talk about what we've been playing. Coulter.
Okay.
Guys, I'm a Rocket League boy. We all know. If you don't know about Rocket League, it's indoor car soccer with rockets so you can fly through the air.
That's a very succinct way to describe it.
It's a physics-based game, mostly derived from
randomness involved.
No randomness involved.
All skill.
So most of the fun is derived from how you can best master the physics of the game, which is a fun process. It's also just visually beautiful and
it's exhilarating.
Fun game, competitive,
skillful,
great game. So yeah, I've been on a journey through the competitive ranks. I set a goal at Diamond. I'm not sure. As soon as I got to Platinum, I was like, okay, Diamond is the next goal, obviously.
Rightfully so.
Because that's like the next, ranking tier. And this week, I achieved Diamond 1.
Congratulations.
Let's go, dude.
Dude, let's go, dude.
Do you happen to know, the percentile that...
No, someone else actually asked me about this when I was talking about it, and I do not know. I know that it is a bell curve, so that the most people are distributed to the middle of the rankings. So I'm going down the bell curve at this point.
Yeah, I'm always curious about that because it's kind of fun to see, because you can say like, oh, like in Overwatch, it was like they have the diamond rank or whatever. The silvers is like, okay, I'm like whatever 3,000, I'm platinum rank. What does that mean? And like when you look like, oh, you're in like the upper like 90th percentile of players and stuff like that. And like that's cool to see because you're like, you feel good for like being up there. And I imagine diamond rank is relatively high percentile.
I'm sure it's high up there. Yeah,
that's neat.
I'm sure you have to have played this game for at least, I'm gonna say like a couple hundred hours.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair? Because you guys haven't been playing for a couple hundred hours, I don't think.
I mean,
you guys are probably on the bridge of a couple hundred.
I have a lot of hours.
A long time on the not a long time, but I would probably say maybe 40, 50 hours on PS4. However much on PC, not quite as much, but decent amount of time. Maybe not 200 hours, but...
And what are we at? We're at Platinum?
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah, I mean that.
I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm not. I'll say right now, I don't think I'm a platinum player, but
I won't say it.
I don't think I'm definitely not a platinum player, but
regardless, it takes time and effort to get that high. So
also on the front of cosmetic items, it was a very good day, because that same day I was able to get the Dabbing Reaper, dude. Let's
go, dude. The best item in any video game ever, probably.
A bold claim, but not a wrong one.
If you don't know, the Dabbing Reaper is a goal explosion. You can customize, whenever you get a goal, it will explode into some sort of special colors, depending on what you choose, and it's customizable. One of the things you can get is a situation where when you score a goal, a portal will open up, and a Reaper, the Death Reaper, the Grim Reaper himself, no scythe.
Skelly Bones McGee, as they call him.
No one says that.
Well, they do now.
Well,
no scythe.
The Grim Reaper himself comes out scytheless, and at the very end of the animation, just slams the dab, just kills him.
He just hits the fattest dab.
The build-up is slow, and then he just rips it at the end. He just destroys it.
And I love it because you failed to mention that not only is it a goal explosion, a portal from the Netherrealm opens up, and the Reaper himself pulls himself through the portal as if he's getting his first breath of otherworldly air in his life.
And then he decides that his best course
and
is
then
to
now that he's free of his of the clutches of
immortal
the grave,
coil.
Yeah, he knows that the only option is to hit that fucking dope-ass dab, dude.
Yeah.
He hits the fattest dab that anyone's ever hit.
Some might say it's cheesy. I wouldn't.
Those people are lame.
Yeah,
it's funny.
It's fun,
hilarious to see.
It's very fun and completely absurd. It's just batshit crazy that that's even in the game.
It's great.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So I got that, and then not only that, but in my opinion, the best wheels in the game are the Dracos, which are exotic level, which means they're pretty damn rare. And not only that, but these wheels, when I got them, were painted, which is even a rarer thing to have happen. Every item you get has a certain chance of being painted. It's probably about like 10% or something like that. Thankfully, it was double painted rate weekend or something like that. It was double drop rate weekend, which also includes the probability of painted items. So I got blue painted Dracos, which means there's blue fire coming off my damn wheels, and you can't mess with that.
They're sick.
They're sick.
It's like dragon heads mounted on your...
Yeah, it's dragon heads, and around the wheel is like tarred fire.
It's awesome.
It's awesome. I mean, they're all right.
Not as good as the fidget spinner wheels, which do exist.
Wow.
Shut your mouth.
All right, well, I'm going to see you later. Guys, if you want to find us online, you can find us at itsnotsosubtle@gmail.com.
I'll suck how far all this
just
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. Also, I played a couple games of PUBG. Still haven't gotten the chicken dinner solo. We did get a chicken dinner as a trio. It was a pretty fun time.
It was a good chicken dinner.
Last one's... We're going to win.
Let's go, dude! Okay!
Chicken dinners.
Go.
Let's go!
Solid win. That was a complete just... clean and efficient.
It was very efficient, and we had good circle karma.
It's true. That is helpful.
We did kind of struggle. Well, was that the one where we kept reviving you? Was that the one where
I honestly don't remember. I think we went through the sunken city.
Oh no, I'm thinking of a different one. I was thinking of the one where no, that one was pretty handily.
Clinical.
Yeah. The one that I was thinking of was when we were about to go across the bridge to the military island, and we were trying to get in the motorcycle, and we kept getting shot at, and I like fended off like the Mad Max like bandits that were like riding around the trees trying to kill me, and then I got you back, and then wait, was that the same one where we drove across the bridge and actually got Children of Man?
Yeah, so we were driving across the bridge.
We didn't tell you about this, I don't think.
So should I tell it?
Sure.
Someone should.
Okay.
Sure. So we need to tell this story.
Yeah. So we're about to go across an important bridge. Not really any way to escape the bridge. Just by the way, it's kind of, it's hard to turn around on this bridge. Yeah.
And at this point, the circle was encroaching on us.
We had to go.
Literally only one option.
to go across the bridge.
Yeah, to go across the bridge.
And as we were starting to go across the bridge, someone behind us started shooting at us.
Mm-hmm.
So
we were boxed in.
Yeah, we're boxed in. Dane decided to kind of slalom it around roadblocks on the bridge. So he's like going back and forth, like kind of behind cover, in and out of cover. Which I mean, give or take.
You guys criticize me for that, but Jordan, you know the bridge that we're talking about with the roadblocks on them?
Yeah.
My thought was that if there were people on the bridge trying to shoot at us, that we could use those roadblocks as cover for as much as possible to stay behind it, and the very last second I would move and go the other side and follow along the left side of the road behind the debris, and then turn again and do that so that we wouldn't get shot from far away. I thought it was a valid strategy.
It's in theory, good strategy. Now, what happened was...
Why is my life a mess?
You're gonna get shot on this bridge.
I know.
Probably. I don't really have a choice.
Just drive across. You might as well just do it now. Oh shit, I'm being shot already.
Why don't you just drive into the water? Yeah.
No.
I'm not doing that.
That car. Oh my god.
I mean, I'm driving behind these because of cover. Stop. We're gonna get... Oh my god.
No, you're gonna block it!
No.
Oh my god. Oh my god!
Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Oh my god, you killed me, you fucker. Right as we hit it,
They actually children of man, you.
We actually got
Dude,
children.
I've always wanted to do that.
They went so far out of their way to do that.
When we came out from the final roadblock near the end of the bridge, what do we see but a team that pulled like 7 cars to block the entire bridge. So we literally had to, there was nothing we could do. We can't ram them because the physics in this game are shit and you'll just die immediately.
That's what I was thinking, like, we're not getting through that blockade.
So we literally just stop and get...
We were in a Jeep.
Oh, okay.
We're in a Jeep.
But it was not happening.
Yeah, we literally just get demolished instantly, incinerated by their weaponry.
That's a savage fucking move.
Okay, so
savage
when
move,
that happened,
but I was mad.
Our friend Colin was just like, no, we literally just got Children of Man. Like, we just got Children of Man. And we've said this before on the podcast, I'm sure, but we make this joke about every time we're crossing a bridge or driving through an isolated area, like in a valley or something on the road, we always joke about getting Children of Man, because there's a scene in Children of Men where very famous
which
scene,
I haven't seen. So
it's a very famous scene where basically all I'll say is that there's a car ambush in a very secluded area.
I've gathered that by now.
Yeah, and so like it's this harrowing scene. So every time we joke about it, but
it happens.
We actually 100% got the definition of Children of Man on that bridge. And Coulter's right. I was driving very fast. We weren't making it through that roadblock. So then, as I'm driving, one of the guys, like, there's multiple people there. There was at least 4 people. I'm sure there was 4 people there. They all come out of the woodwork, and they just start firing at the car. And so this guy is, like, coming out from the corner, like, coming out of my shell, and I've been doing just fine. That's not it. Coming out of my cage. No, he, like, comes around the corner, and he's, like, right by the, like, the back end of one of the charred cars. And I just rammed right into him. I just hit him as hard as I could with my car. But I think you might have jumped out of the car, or someone jumped out of the car at the same time, and I ran over them.
Did you?
Yeah, I think I did. I think I did because someone was like, "Dane, you ran over me."
Jesus.
Because it was just, look.
That was
we weren't getting out of that situation alive, so I just figured I'd try to take someone down with me.
Yeah.
And I hit him extremely hard against that car. I did kill that man.
My point was that if we hadn't have done the slalom roadblock,
we would have seen the roadblock.
We may have seen the roadblock earlier and been able to live.
But it was very far into the bridge.
Yeah.
It was right at the very end of the bridge, like right before the military island.
Yeah.
It was the last little like section of like cars, and there's like that truck parked along the side. It was like right there. So if we had driven like 5 or 6 more seconds past that, we would have been on the military island.
Yeah.
Like, it was literally at the very end of the bridge. So,
talking about regrets earlier, every match of PUBG that you don't win, you have a regret.
I mean,
that's 100%
mistakes
true.
Cost that game, so it's...
Yeah.
But
you will always regret what you mess up on.
At this point...
There's a very clear mistake that usually costs you the match, and it's very easy to tell.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're unlucky with the circle, sometimes lag may kill you, but a lot of times it's, I messed went through the wrong door, didn't check my corner, so on. But
yeah, at this point though, like that really was like sometimes it seems like that's your only choice to do whatever it is, and then you look back and you're like, well, I guess we could have done yada yada yada. At this point, our one and only option was to go across that bridge. Like, there was no swimming because the circle was already encroaching on us. Yeah. There was no swimming. It would have taken far too long. I don't think we were very well equipped. We were decently equipped. We were confident enough to go to the military island, like thinking that we would be fine. But yeah, there was the one choice was to go across that bridge, and of course, we got Children of Man.
It happens.
It's upsetting. But
at least you got to say you actually got Children of Man.
I was laughing. I was laughing really hard, like really hard, and I just kept because as soon as Colin said, "Wow, you guys actually got Children of Man," like I just thought to myself, "Wow, yeah, that's the definition of what we've been talking about this whole time." But then you were upset.
I was upset.
You were like, you know what? I'm actually angry about that.
Yeah.
And I just thought it was funny.
Which I shouldn't have been. It's like, it's a hilarious moment. It's like a classic, like almost Halo type moment where they like jerry rig a situation to happen.
Where they just like, because that took a lot of effort.
Yeah. I would be upset being killed at that point, but to see the amount of effort put into blockade like a road, like that's funny.
There was literally
respectful.
Coulter was being serious. There was literally 7 cars there.
Yeah,
like
that's awesome.
Like blocking it off so much that there was just like almost like a double layer blockage across the middle of there. There was literally no way to drive a car through it, which is the craziest thing I've ever seen. Sometimes we can barely find 1 car. I don't know how they found 6 cars to keep driving back and forth to the same spot to make a blockade. That's just insane. Part of it was probably from the people that they killed along the way, and then it just took the car and like fashioned it into a roadblock. But it was very funny.
All right.
It was hilarious.
Dane, what have you been playing? Quickly.
Well, more Assassin's Creed. I find that Assassin's Creed is because this weekend was very busy for me, or this past few days actually for work was very busy. So when I get home, it's very easy to just pop on.
Quickly. Come on.
No, Coulter's just pissed me off. No, when I get home, it's very easy to pop on Assassin's Creed and just like run some quests and do some things. And I'm still very much enjoying that game.
All right.
It's a lot of fun. I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. I do think it's probably it is my favorite Assassin's Creed since Black Flag, which wasn't that long ago. But in turn, probably my favorite since 2, which I feel like is like the holy grail of the series by like all counts. So I'm happy that they made an Assassin's Creed game that I don't feel angry at when I'm playing, because with Unity, the story was just not that good. There was a lot of graphics issues. The combat was shit. It was very shallow. There was a lot of microtransactions. And so that was angry. I was angry. It was just it was upsetting to play that game. And then Syndicate came out, and Syndicate was good. There was some cool like assassination stuff in there, and like the whole like grappling hook thing that they had in there was cool. And they added like starting with Unity and then more with Syndicate, they added better parkour down things, so you could like jump down and catch like light posts and get down buildings fast instead of just jumping off and hoping that you don't die when you hit the ground, which was annoying as hell. So they've made like some quality of life changes, and then now they've kind of like upended the formula altogether. Like this really does feel, we talked about it last time, but it feels more like The Witcher. It feels more like sort of like a Dragon Age Inquisition in a way, where it's like little zones and little hubs that you go to. It kind of just feels more like a world where games outside of Assassin's Creed exist, whereas before it kind of just felt like, here's another Assassin's Creed game, it's going to be the exact same formula, it's going to have the exact same like animations and all that stuff. And this feels a little bit different, which I like. So it's just, I've always liked those games, but it's fun to play one that I actually wholeheartedly enjoy while I'm playing it, rather than me just playing it because it's an Assassin's Creed game. So I like that. And then I played a little more of Wolfenstein 2. Not much farther, but I'm starting to see sort of a trajectory for the game, kind of. And it's been very consistent in its quality, with cutscenes in particular, probably. I still enjoy the gameplay. I have some issues with... It's very unforgiving.
Yeah.
And I don't like how they... I think we also talked about this last time, but the hit indicator, or the damage indicator, or lack thereof, is extremely frustrating. And I find myself, like, almost... And I don't say this a lot for games, but I find myself almost just wanting to see the cutscenes.
That's like, how I felt for that whole game.
Yeah, like the game, which is weird because the combat in, in the New Order, the first Wolfenstein, modern Wolfenstein, I guess, I equally enjoyed the gameplay and the cutscenes, because I almost felt like the combat was tuned better, or it was like more handcrafted than this one is.
I feel like the stealth in the first one was more viable. Like, I try to do stealth in this one, and they make a point to indicate that, yeah, you can sneak through these areas, but I, like, couldn't do it. Like, you don't get a great indicator if enemies are seeing you. If they spot you from any distance, you're done unless you headshot them, but even then, you can kill someone, and another person will just see them. Also, they have the things with the commanders where, like, if any commander spots you, or if you give away your position, the thing just fills up, like the indicator fills up, and there's no way to stop that, and then you're just swarmed by enemies. It's like, well,
yeah, the only way to do it is to kill the commander.
Yeah, it's like, well, if that was the case, why am I doing stealth? Which is why I just gave up on that and just went in guns blazing every time, because it was more fun, it was faster to get through the areas, and I didn't get frustrated when I tried to stealth my way through and it failed and I ended up getting killed or something.
I have, the stealth is not great. I found myself kind of having to relearn how to play the game, because I think I've been playing it like Call of Duty or like Battlefield or like whatever shooter it is, where I'll kind of like, peek around cover and like do like these methodical things. But I found that a lot of the times when I just like literally throw on two guns and dual wield and just sprint in and like honestly play like a psychopath, just like literally run around corners shooting people, like jumping off things and like moving erratically and everything, like the game almost encourages that, which reminds me of Doom in a little bit in some sense. But with Doom actively encourages that by giving you health and stuff. It better communicates to you like how it wants you to play the game, and you kind of have to just like, there's no other choice. But with this, you kind of have to like, it's very unclear how you should or shouldn't be approaching these combat scenarios. So there's times where I've been frustrated for sure, but man, that story is so fucking cool. Like, the cutscenes are so good that all I want to do is just like, there was actually a level that I was playing today where I just ran through like the last little bit of it just so I can get to like the exit level thing, just to see that cutscene, because I knew it was gonna be awesome, and it was very awesome, and I am thoroughly enjoying it for that alone. That game is great. Play that game. I'm loving it so far. It's great. I think over the next few play sessions I have, anything, I'm gonna try to knock that out. So I don't wanna keep it on the burner for too long. Have you played any more of Shadow of War? No. Okay. And I still haven't played any Evil Within. I am gonna go back to those. Right now, there's just too many games coming out right now. It's kind of insane. Getting to the holiday season. And I don't think there's any other big releases for the year, really. I couldn't say. Battlefront 2, maybe? Sure. That seems cool. I don't think there's anything else really that's coming out that I was really that excited for. So this will carry me through the holidays probably. So I have a lot to take care of. A lot on my plate. But, all right. Yeah. I think that's about it. Oh, I played a little more Mario Odyssey too. I am in the forest world. I think I'm almost done with it. Almost done with like, the main story. The main, yeah. But I think I'm gonna stay there for a while and try to collect some moons, because I stayed in the desert world for quite a while, and I still don't think I found all of them, but I went all around that map, doing a lot of different stuff, and I feel like I got a lot of moons done. So I want to try and do that for every world. I don't know if I don't think I'm gonna 100% complete the game, but it's very fun. There's something very fun about hunting all those moons down. So I'm sure I'll go back. And
from what I understand, when you do the main story, and then it kind of opens up the world a little bit, and you collect more moons, and then when you actually beat the game, or beat whatever the actual end of the game is, even more shines open up in each zone, and you go back and collect even more.
Oh, really?
So
I believe that's true.
I haven't played Odyssey since the last podcast, because I've also been playing a lot of Assassin's Creed, but it's a game I'm going to go back to, certainly.
It's very fun. There's not much more I can say from it from last time we talked, because I haven't played that much more of it, but I found myself just really enjoying my time with the game.
Yeah.
Big old smile on my face while I'm playing. It's very joyous.
All right, Jordan, you have 1 minute.
Very quickly going to explain my journey through Assassin's Creed, which I have spent most of my gaming time playing. I think I have about 30 hours racked up in it. I think I'm close to the end of the main story. I'm not 100% sure if that's actually the case or not, because I haven't been to a quarter of the areas still in the game. That game is fucking gigantic.
It's huge.
I spent one day in that game just running around and collecting, or doing these little star puzzle things to collect the special armor in that game, which literally took me hours upon hours to do. And I was just running through completely high level zones, but you can dodge the enemies in that game fine, but I spent that entire time just running through this gigantic landscape, and that game looks incredible, so it's fun to just run around and explore Egypt. I think I mentioned...
armor cool?
It looks cool, but it's futuristic, so it doesn't fit with the game at all. Oh. And also it gives Bayek, who is the main character is Bayek, it gives him a voice modulator type of thing where he talks, and it sounds like he's talking through a robotic
that's cool.
Translator thing, and it's kind of goofy, but it breaks the immersion in all the cutscenes because his voice is completely broken. But the one thing I mentioned last time was that I would be disappointed if the assassinations didn't ramp up in their complexity, and unfortunately that seems to be the case, and none of the assassinations have the complexity of Syndicate, which is a shame, but it was okay to me as I went on, because a lot of these side quests and stuff allow you to learn things about your target that affect what happens when you go in. One of them was there's this assassination target who's in this priest temple, and there's a bunch of other priests who look exactly like him, but this priest is special because what I learned in a mission was he has a blue cloth on him, or he's walks around with a cough, and I was okay, well, knowing that, I can walk around and hunt this guy down. That was cool to figure that out. And also that game just, because the environments are huge, it allows you to kind of set your own way into the environments or the encampments where the bosses are and stuff, and assassinate them. But I do wish they were a little bit more not streamlined, but I've been really enjoying that game, so it's been fun.
It's a good game.
Yeah, I highly recommend. I have not played anything else besides that, unfortunately. Well, besides PUBG. I did win a solo match. Throw that in there. But haven't been playing much else. I haven't played Odyssey, although I will certainly go back to that because I do enjoy that game quite a bit. But now we're done with games. We're almost done with the podcast. We're going to pull a movie out of the bag. And it's my turn.
Every week we pull a movie out of the bag. Could be anything. It could be Calabar's Revenge. Could be a Serbian film.
It's not Calabar's Revenge.
It won't be Calabar's Revenge anymore. It could be a wide variety of films. You can hear what we pick out. You can watch it, or you can't. It's up to you. I ain't your dad. And then you can come back and hear what we have to say about it either way. Because we are professional reviewers.
I don't like to feel that one.
Felt a little too coarse, rough, and irritating on your hand.
Here we go.
Rip off the Band-Aid, Jordan. Just tell us. I can't sit here anymore.
Memento.
Ooh, okay. Interesting.
This is purported Christopher Nolan's like first film or something.
Not his first, but I think one of his better ones.
All right.
One of his first films.
Yeah.
Do we have any idea what this movie's about?
It's Guy Ritchie. His wife gets killed or murdered or kidnapped or something, and then he either has short-term memory loss or something where he keeps. I think it's short-term memory loss, and he keeps forgetting what clues and what he knows about the investigation, so he tattoos it on himself, and his entire body becomes a map to the solution.
A memento, if you will.
That's right. And so it's like a thriller. I'm sure it's gonna be like a mind bender,
Sure.
kind of like
I feel like 50 First
what's
Dates
real.
is gonna do this better, but
all right, well,
we'll see.
No one's ever said that before. You're the first to ever say that.
All right.
All right, take us out of here, damn it.
That's going to do it for us on Not So Subtle. If you want to contact us, send us a comment, a critique, a question, any sort of response at all is nice. You can send that to itsnotsosubtle@gmail.com. You can also send us a message on Facebook, on our Facebook page, Not So Subtle, YouTube, Not So Subtle, where you can watch our podcasts if you want to do that, and some of our other gaming-related videos. You can find us on Instagram, Twitch, Twitter. It's Not So Subtle.
That's right.
We have been streaming some stuff
right.
on Twitch lately. Rocket League, PUBG, you name it.
We have some fat-ass video clips if you want to go to
Yeah.
the video section of our channel.
Look, we went in on PUBG, all right?
We
You think
recorded.
we're joking around.
This
we recorded
blockade
a
might
victory.
be on video.
Oh, that would be great.
All right.
We need to clip that if so.
Yeah, we need to get that.
All right. Find us at those places. Please watch us. Please send us any sort of response. We'll be happy to talk about it. Dane, where can people find you?
Lane DePoint on Twitter, Instagram, and Twitch, and then of course on Pornhub. My favorite website of them
You
all.
always catch me off guard.
No name given to look you up on there, but
Lane DePoint. Look it up. I'll be there. Trust me. Yeah, that's about it. I think that we should stream more PUBG because every time we stream PUBG, something happens. This time we caught the entire chicken dinner run on stream, and then hopefully we got the blockade, the Children of Man blockade, because that was insane. Yeah, that's all I got.
all right.
Coulter, where can people find?
Coulter Potter on Twitter and Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and leave a like, and leave a review on the iTunes if you watch this show. Thank you, boys.
All right, you can find me, Jordan Miller, at The Killamilla on Twitter, Instagram, and video game websites and services. If you want to find us there, you can also find me at that on Twitch, where I sometimes stream stuff. You can also find that hosted on Not So Subtle. If you want to find my anime blog, which is quite hot, you can find it at Tenzo-Taicho on Tumblr. All right, I think that's going to do it for us.
Lots of thoughts on there.
Lots of thoughts.
Thoughties.
Not thoughties, actual well thought out thoughts. I don't write anything on there. I just post pictures. All right, that's
The
gonna
cat
do it.
girls speak for themselves.
They do. If you like, everyone loves cat girls and Gundams. I should find.
We should go before you embarrass
some
yourself.
cat girl mechs.
Damn.
They exist.
I haven't found those yet. All right, thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time.
See ya.